Hey everyone, welcome to Pop XP. And before the show starts, make sure to click that subscribe button and click the bell to get notifications when we go live and we upload awesome new content. And don't forget, if you can, make sure to share our stream on all your social media outlets. We appreciate it, and thanks for helping us grow the Pop XP channel. Yo, what is up, YouTube? Mr. Tucci, Mr. Blevins. It's
what up
tonight, you guys? I'm ready for this. You know what I love, Billy? I watch you on the little screen backstage, and once that music plays, your head just starts going. You just you love that, dude. You love that intro music.
Well, I wrote the music.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
Did not
It's
know
a
that.
lovely score you put together, my
And every
man.
time you play it, I make 5 cents.
Hell yeah!
Look at my shirt. No step on snap.
Nice. Blevins, bro. New fresh haircut, looking good. New shelving.
Yep. Got some pretty cool stuff to show off. Hopefully, towards the later of the show, some stuff that never before seen. If you know what I'm saying.
Ooh, lovely,
Yeah.
lovely.
Little sneaky.
Little sneak. Well, we got a great show tonight, man. We're gonna have some fun. We're gonna be hanging out with our buddy Andy Smith. We got his partner, which is so brave for him to come on with his partner.
Yeah.
I mean,
Very brave.
who's doing that nowadays? It's good to just come out, be with your partner, just be proud and create. That's what it's about.
Some people say he's
hey.
Some people say he's the first man to do that.
Oh. Is it the first man with the second man?
First man to do that.
Oh,
First man.
Well, hey, bro, let's bring him in. Let's get him in. Let's get Andy Smith in the house. Let's get Dennis Turner in the house. Gentlemen, welcome.
Hello.
Live long and prosper, everybody.
That's right.
As they say, nanu.
Exactly. That's what I'm
No one ever
talking
gives
about.
Mork any love, man.
Shazbot.
Yes.
What was that?
What?
Somebody just do Shazbot?
I did.
Shazbot.
Shazbot. Nanu.
What's up,
Shazbot.
Comic Talks with Pops Van Zant?
Come on, Mindy.
Holy Hand Grenades? American Comics Co? What? Andy, man. Dennis, welcome to the show. First time for you. Welcome to the Pop XP with Billy Tucci and Nile Scala.
Thank you.
And our
Yeah,
adopted son, Blevins. And
Oh.
Andy, man. So what's new? How is it going? You got this great campaign, Kor-Drath, The Reckoning?
Kor-Drath, The Reckoning.
Yes.
Going good. It's going good. It's in its first 48 hours, and it's moving along. So that's what I like to see. That's what we like to see. Yeah, the campaign's going great right now. I definitely want to get at least one backer because I'm looking at it now, and we're at 41,666.
Oh,
what?
that abyssal number.
Hey, Andy and Dennis, do you guys I know Debbie, when we launch a campaign and even the first week or so, she's constantly checking it.
Oh, yeah.
Do you find yourself constantly going back to check it like every few minutes? Because
No.
I don't either. Because
I can't do that.
Nuts.
You know, the funny thing is,
fact,
I don't, but there's a few guys that are like regulars, and all of a sudden I'll get a Twitter DM or a Facebook message. Hey, you're at this. Hey, they check more for us than what we do.
I actually turned off the feature on Indiegogo where you can get an email notification every time somebody backs.
Oh, yeah.
I turned it off.
Yeah.
Because I never had the first campaign I had that turned on was for my last First Man Volume 2. And it was cool seeing the emails come through and stuff. But I was just like, you know what? I don't want to see that because that'll just, like you said, Billy, I'd probably be going to it all the time. So I turned that feature off so I can pretty much just, throughout the day, maybe pop on, take a look, tweet it out. Then I just turn it back off.
Do you play a game in your head? Like, is it a reward? Like, I'm going to get this done. I'm going to get that done. And then I'm going to go check it. And it's going to grow another $5,000. Everything's going to be great.
Yeah,
play that game in your head.
Awesome.
Hey there, Dinja. I just followed you on the Twitter. I didn't know you were on the Twitter. I apologize.
It's okay. I'm theoretically on Twitter. I don't post much other than to say who we got for guests and things like that because it's kind of toxic. So I don't do a lot of interaction.
Not toxic.
But it's more for what? It's more for direct.
Now, Dennis, I told you before. as part of this campaign, it needs to be out of your Twitter a few times a day, buddy boy.
I know, which is why I have it. So yes, Andy, this is why I'm on Twitter and at least putting stuff out.
There you go. There you go.
So, I gotta ask you, so what's it like with this campaign versus the past ones? Is it just a culmination of already being out there, getting established in crowdfunding now, maybe having different strategies? Because this one's really this one's cranking.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think it's being a brand new property. I mean, as much as I love First Man, it's something that, was created created when I was a kid, but originally came out in 97 and sat in the back burner for 20 some years when I brought it back. And I just was like, you know what? I want to try something different. I had such a fun time drawing Claw and Red Sonja about a decade ago for Dynamite and DC that I said, you know what? I want to do something barbaric and fantasy based again. And I knew Dennis had a really big love for Dungeons and Dragons and is really knowledgeable about that world. Ooh. And that's why I didn't want it to be just strictly like a Conan type base thing. And I want to get more of that D&D stuff in it. And, like I said, he really knows a lot about it. So we talked about it actually when we were driving to Fayetteville back in the spring. I think it was the Fayetteville show in the spring.
Dude, I was at that Fayetteville
in the
show
back of Dennis's van.
I wasn't at that Fayetteville.
No, then it wasn't that. Dennis, we drove to some show that was a few hours away.
South Carolina, I think.
Maybe it was South Carolina then. But anyhow, we were driving to a convention.
At that South Carolina show.
I didn't
go. You didn't go this year, did you?
We didn't go, Billy.
South Carolina, I did.
South Carolina.
Yes, I did.
No, because Andy was in the back of Dennis's van. They had just gotten to Costco where they picked up a bunch of bags of lollipops. And that's when the idea popped into their head.
You had you couldn't go because it was your nephew's. God, what was it?
I went to South Carolina. That's how I got Little Billy. Right, Andy? That's where we went.
No, you got that at Heroes Con.
Yeah, you got that at Heroes Con.
Yeah, I did not. Heroes
Con.
It
was South Carolina. No, Billy's right. It was South Carolina.
Rob Young's show. Come on, man.
Roll the tape.
Roll the tape.
I don't remember.
Well, it was one of the conventions that was 3 hours away. It wasn't Virginia, was it?
It could have been. I mean, I honestly don't remember. I just know it was, it was back when First Man wasn't finished yet. Not the book was pretty much finished. The campaign was still in demand. And, it was at that time where it was like, all right, what am I going to do next? And I knew it was going to be something different after spending 2 years on First Man. So we started talking. All right, Lepresti's coming in for punishment.
I'm going to talk to Aaron Lepresti about some stuff because I'm talking stuff.
So anyhow, so we just started jamming out ideas and stuff, and that's pretty much how it came about.
Hey, Dennis, so the story, since Andy talks a lot, Andy's been talking online a lot. Been a lot of shows. Been talking core, talking draft for a lot. Talking draft.
I have.
But Dinja, what do you give us your take on Kor-Drath?
Yeah, Dennis, come on.
But Andy was kind of right. We were talking, bouncing ideas off, and the cool thing is, we really pay attention to everybody that's in our chats, because on the Dennis and Andy channel, when we do our show, we just talk comics and convention stuff. I do reviews of toys, all the movies and TV shows. We do it, but we always get, like you guys do, lots of people like Randy Howell. He's always on our show and stuff. But we start listening to what are these guys like, because they will comment and they will tell you everything. Well, we started finding out when they found out that I used to role play. I mean, still do. And
not in the bedroom, D&D. I just want to make that clear. Well, I got to make it clear, dude. I come over to your house as a pop-up visit, and you answer the door, and nothing but a freaking silk robe, wide open, and you're like, "You're not my wife," and I'm like, "No shit." And
you're like, the chainmail doesn't go there, Dennis.
He was hoping you were going to role play Andy as his wife.
No, he was like, that was supposed to be my wife knocking on the door.
Still friends with Andy? And the answer is, I don't know, is this big question. But
there you go.
Honestly, we were sitting there talking, and I said, look, everybody in here, they want me to do role playing, talk about D&D, talk about Star Wars, D20 stuff, all the different types of role playing. And I was like, I could start doing that. Everybody was kind of asking. So I said, you know what? What does Andy draw the best? He draws big burly men. Don't roll a 0 or a 1. And he draws really hot looking women. So what would you want to draw? So I said, why not something D&D-ish, Conan-ish, He-Man-ish, something that's got those vibes. And, as we started talking things through, it really kind of makes sense because I've got knowledge in one area and Andy's got knowledge in a different area, and it just wound up coming together.
Oh, so really, this is your book, Dennis. Congratulations on the great.
Let's not go crazy now.
Well,
Great
no,
job,
you can draw,
great job,
Andy.
Dennis.
That's a good. You're helping out. Andy, you're helping out.
Penciler. It's good to have a penciler. Every great writer needs
Even better if you can pencil and ink. That's a win for Dennis.
Yeah.
Oh,
you ink too, Andy?
What's
All right,
that?
Dennis, you ink too?
I think we're role playing right
I
now.
do.
We're role playing.
Yeah, I can't draw. Andy asked me to draw First Man for him.
Can't see it. The glare is too
Oh, nice.
Isn't that
big.
good?
That is the extent of my artist abilities.
big. Your artistic
Oh,
talent only
I
goes so
suck.
far.
I suck. I could never draw anything.
Jimmy Bray's art. Holla, mates.
Hey,
Jimmy.
Jimmy, how you feeling, buddy?
Jimmy
Jimmy's,
Reyes.
not feeling well today. He's a little down, so he's a little down with the sickness.
Oh no,
I know he is.
God, I've been down
Well, good
with
thing we've got some Kor-Drath here to beat it out of him.
Well, Evans, how long you been down with the sickness? Since what
Yeah,
year?
Too bad.
This is a great comment from Grim Jim. Kor-Drath looks freaking sweet. I want to show that D&D character card to my friends that play. See what they think.
Oh.
So it's funny. So that's one of the stretch goals. The first one that we put up is a character card, and on the back, it's not just a card. It's 7x10, so it's like a mini print. And on the back of it is statistics, and I was just like, yeah, let's just make some statistics up, whatever.
Yeah.
And Dennis is like, I got a better idea. I'll use this SRD open source kind of like platform to make up the statistics.
Right.
So you can actually use Kor-Drath when you do RPG gaming.
All right, I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
That's pretty awesome.
Talking foreign language to me, Billy.
So you didn't
like
use.
a sexually transmitted disease or
I
something.
bet
No.
Levins knows.
Oh, I definitely know.
No.
Why did you not use the actual Wizards of the Coast D&D character creator?
You know why? Because there's a fair amount of that stuff that's in there that they own the rights to. So you can't just say, oh, this is a D&D character because we don't have permission to use it. So they created open source 5.0 for 5th edition for the new one, just like they did for 3rd edition, where you can use these base set of rules, which are compatible with any gaming system out there. Therefore, we can tell what are the greatest story in the world, and I can mold all of that stuff into stuff that I make myself.
Dude, that's awesome. You could have just went and used Palladium and did some GURPS.
Exactly. You could have
I
totally
used
used
to play
Palladium.
GURPS.
Jesus.
Say what?
You could totally should have used Palladium.
Hey, all right, I gotta say, guys, I'm sorry, man. I don't know what the fuck you guys are talking about.
Dude, I don't either. Billy, I never
What
played
is the
D&D,
SRD?
so
What's an SDR, first of all?
The SRD is
SRD.
they basically, when the creators of Dungeons and Dragons came out and they said, look, we are going to put out a basic set of rules that anybody can use, and you can create your own game using our rules as long as that's all you use is it, and you just give us credit by saying it's an open source set of rules. So at the very back of the game stuff, we just have to list all the legal mumbo jumbo.
Facts.
So okay, so you use this building blocks, right? That's copyright free, right? So you could use it. You don't have to pay them residuals by creating this character. So because you've done this and you've been a dungeon master and you've played this for what, 20 years, 30, 40 years?
Since
right?
about 84.
All right, since 84. So that's okay. So
A lot of years.
lot of years. Yeah, that's my graduating high school.
38 years, 37, 38 years.
All right, so yeah, so you've been doing this. So you guys are driving the car. You've listened to the chat, the people in your chat of kind of what kind of books, and you again, you guys are very accessible, very interactive with your chats, with the people in your chat. So it's almost like they're friends of yours. You guys are spitball, and you're at almost like a convention when you're online, and you're having conversations with them. Come on.
When's my transmission getting done, Billy? Come on, you've had it for 3 weeks.
Anyway,
3 weeks.
3 weeks,
Anyway,
Billy.
so,
Give me a
3 weeks.
transmission.
So now you listen, like, so the people like maybe some kind of D&D type of thing.
Yeah.
And then you guys start spitballing in the car, and Andy, you tell them what you like because you like barbarians, and as
Yeah,
you said,
basically.
it draws great gals, And so how did the whole world build?
Well, I mean, honestly, 99% of the world building is Dennis. I mean, he created this vast world with, the story behind Kor-Drath is we focus on 3 tribes in the book, but there's this is a world. So there's on this one, I guess you could say, section of the world, this one continent, there's definitely more than 3 tribes. We just focus on these key 3 that are important to the story, but he did do a lot of the world building and stuff. And I mean, look, one of the things he did, which I was like, man, that's pretty effing cool, is there's this, I guess when creating a character, Dennis, you can explain the 100 questions that you answered for each character.
I just don't write down a question. So when I make up a character for anything, I have these 100 questions that you do, which fleshes out every aspect of their entire. Aaron.
Oh, he's here. All right.
We've just been raided by another tribe.
I just want to say that Dennis is probably the biggest nerd I've ever met in my life. Some people
don't know
Get
me.
to know Blevins.
Yeah, only because you don't know me, Aaron.
Well, some people are like, Star Trek nerds like myself. Some people are comic book nerds. Some people are gamer nerds. Dennis is everything. Everything. So
That's why
he
they're
is the
together
ultimate
right
nerd.
now.
Maybe Blevins is too. So maybe we can have these guys in a royal rumble.
So we're
Yeah, but
brothers from another mother.
Right. Yeah, but he's got a great. So listen to this, Aaron. When coming up with a character, there's a 100-point system, right? Or 100, like you have 100 different
questionnaire.
variables to
100
create it.
It's 100 questions that you answer for your character.
That's great.
And I read through them after. I mean, some of them he left open. He's like, read through this, give me your input and stuff. And I was like, holy crap, this 100. This is pretty in depth.
But when you role play, I mean, you just don't. Some people just roll dice, make up a name, and that's a character. That's not role playing. That's rolling dice. That's a board game. So I always create, using the 100 questions, a character with this huge in-depth. I know their entire family, what their friends, important things in their life. So this is all documented for each and every character that I made. So, and this is based off of a world that I started creating back in the 90s in one of our shows. I actually have the old map that I hand drew out back in the 90s on cardboard. And I was like, I still have it. And that's the basis of the world. And whatever we need, if I don't already have it in there, we just create it now.
Can you take a photo of that, or maybe scan that in, and maybe that's a nice piece in the back of the book, the original map?
Oh, I got something better.
Oh,
yeah. Well, I mean, I like what Billy's saying. Billy's saying to kind of go, hey, this is what the original from back when looked like. But we do have there is a official map of the world that was made that will probably see the light of day. Yes.
Hey, Andy, I have some good news and some bad news for you. The good news is you're not at 666 anymore.
No, that's good.
I don't want to tell you what the bad news is.
Oh man, are you gonna tell me it went down?
Oh no!
Blevins,
thanks, Blevins.
Damn it!
You know what? I gotta
because Aaron came on.
It's because we did Aaron.
I called Dennis a nerd, and then they took my.
Everybody turned on Andy.
Yeah.
Because you guys are basically look the same.
You know what it was? It was all the van comments. They didn't like that.
What's wrong with the van? Just helping the community.
van down by the river. I mean,
I
come
tell you
on,
what,
who doesn't like Chris Farley?
I love the idea of this having a D&D background. I mean, it opens up a whole nother, again, everybody loves Cole the Conqueror, Conan the Barbarian, Red Sonja. Like, I think it's great to have something that's actually tangible that they could use in a gaming setting. I mean,
Sure.
like most of these characters, whenever they do create them, like you'd be surprised the groups, the fan pages where people already take this. Like in Champions, which is a huge role playing game, they have this program that basically elicits something called a variable power pool, in which they create characters using the specific powers. And it's pretty awesome and definitely unique for a Kickstarter, Indiegogo Kickstarter campaign. So, I mean, congrats. I think it's awesome.
Thanks.
I'm also a nerd, so what's up?
Well, part of the thing is that I know the guys were asking about was like, how are you going to work your magic system? Because, in this type of stuff, you can use magic. Marvel's got their own way of doing it and stuff. And this is based off of tribal magic, and there's no gods and stuff involved. It's using the power of their ancestors. So their ancestral mounds and stuff. So all of that type, but it's why do things work? How do things work? It isn't that, there's swords, there's axes, there's magic, but you got to kind of find out why and how it's used. And I think the comic book allows a really interesting look into this type of a world versus just the gaming stuff, and they actually interact very well.
You know what's weird is when Dennis always uses the term ancestral mounds, I always think I want to do one of those DNA tests to see if one of my far back ancestors was a female that was really stacked up top. I don't know why.
Yes.
Well,
Lady Mounds.
Ancestral mounds. I mean, like when you watch movies and stuff that involve magic, and they have like the sanctums where the big giant statue is, and they have to go in and they have to beat the people on their grounds, on their area. I mean, that's basically an ancestral mound in movie form.
Yeah.
So.
I like Andy's ancestral mounds better than
I like his way better. Maybe you can do a whole line of ancestral mounds.
There you go.
Maybe you should create a candy bar and call it Ancestral Mounds.
Oh, dang. You could definitely do a trading card. You could definitely do a trading card, call it Ancestral Mounds, if you know what I'm saying.
If you know what I'm saying.
Or like a stress reliever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there is, with you creating this and you using all your own deals to create the game side of this, I mean, there's tons of different ways you could go, and that may even offer up, like, if you have like a place that you keep all that information, and later on it may offer opportunities for you to bring into the book later on, stuff that you're like, hey, look, I can add this is available in the game, so maybe I'll bring that into the book.
Yeah, and that's just it. So think of a big world like Forgotten Realms, for those of you who do game. For those of you who don't, just think of the world. We're focusing in on one continent, on one little area of a continent, and that's where our story takes place. The elves live over here, the dwarves are over here. You've got some of your basics. We have the camellia, which are camel-like people that live out in the desert. We actually have types, and I used to call them harefoots, at least I did in the 90s. But since Ring of Powers just came out and started calling their hobbits harefoots now, I decided to go ahead and change that name because that show sucks so bad. Sorry.
Right. You don't want to get Amazon. You don't want to get Bezos.
That's right.
What's interesting too is you guys are doing something similar to something that I'm a big fan of, and I'm sure Aaron is as well, is Planet of the Apes.
Oh.
You ever notice they only focus on one continent?
Yeah.
That's
right.
true.
What's the rest of the world like in Planet of the Apes?
Yeah.
Oh.
I've often wondered that, Billy.
I've often wondered it too, because I remember as a kid when we had a few channels, and Aaron and Andy will remember this. Remember you had like your cable box, right? When cable first came out.
Oh yeah.
But aside from that, before that, you had the channels that you switch. And I remember it was like Monster Week or whatever, the 4:30 movie we have up here in New York. And they had the ad for Planet of the Apes. And you had this awesome ape illustration, and the top of his head was like a globe. but they only showed North America. And I remember as a kid, unless it was when Planet of the Apes first debuted on TV, maybe 74, 73, or 75, whatever. And I remember like, oh, I wonder what the rest of the world is like.
Did the TV show
South American apes.
Did the TV show not talk a little bit about the rest of the world, Billy?
I don't think so. The TV show was tiny. That was like a village.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They had like no budget at all.
I was going to say it was no
Dr.
budget.
Zayas.
No
Dr.
location
Zayas, Dr.
shots.
But sorry,
Back the old, Star Trek sets and just put them on there.
this. What?
Oh,
Did they? No.
Peter Orchard Studios. Clearly, in the Planet of the Apes, the rest of the world was destroyed in a nuclear holocaust.
Clearly.
Clearly.
Yeah, but like, what's going on like on Samoa or something? Anything going on there?
Yeah.
Maybe
China's a
it's
big
not
place.
apes. Maybe it's pandas. Maybe it's Planet of the Pandas over there.
Oh,
I don't know. It might be a little too hot for them pandas.
Man,
there.
you might want to trademark that, Dennis.
Yeah, maybe it was
Planet
more
of the
like
Pandas.
maybe it was more like Kirby's Commandy, right, where you had like all these animal kingdoms all over the place with different.
Yeah.
Yes, you had monkeys over here, tiger people over there.
Yeah, lizard people.
Oh yeah.
Lizard people are in Utah. We all know that.
Do you think they had like Flash Gordon lizard people with their mouths open, their eyeballs were in their mouths? Remember that?
Oh,
How do they
yeah.
eat?
What was up with that?
How do they eat if they
I
have
don't
their
know.
eyeballs in their mouth?
I don't know. You can tell those guys were just having fun. All the creature creators, they just do whatever the hell they want.
Oh, whatever
Man,
they want.
probably-
No one told them what to do. They just
Yeah,
did
they're
whatever
probably
they
in the
wanted.
bar. Like
Oh,
we
yeah.
gotta do like a lizard guy with his eyeballs in his mouth and his mouth is open. And they're like, yeah, no one's gonna know.
How come nobody was upset that Clytus looked so much like Dr. Doom?
That's true. And what
Like,
happened to Clytus?
Nobody said anything about that. I never realized why that's never been
Who?
Clytus. He
Who's
put
that?
the ball worms on the princess.
He looked. Oh my God! Is that Aaron? Did you see that movie?
No. What
You
are we
never saw
talking
Flash
about?
Gordon?
I'm sorry. I'm listening for my lasagna to be done in the oven. So, okay, you're talking about the Flash Gordon movie.
Flash
that had,
Gordon, I think. Yeah.
Sam, what's his face?
Yeah, Sam Jones.
Sam Jones.
Sam Jones.
Yeah, Sam Jones. Yeah, I met actually Sam Jones. Pretty nice
Yeah,
guy.
he's a nice guy, wasn't he?
Yeah. I met him at a con in Alaska of all places. But
Oh wow.
actually, I've never seen it. I do like the movie poster though.
What?
Yeah, the movie poster's great. But there's a great scene where Orlana Muti was being whipped.
I watched it for the first time like 6 months ago. And
I
I thought it
remember
was
sneaking in to
brilliant.
see Flesh Gordon when I was like 14 or 15.
Oh, dear.
Whoa, come on, keep it clean.
Lord.
PG show. PG show.
God.
So,
Was that after? Would that come before or after the Mounds of Kor-Drath?
I may have introduced him. I'm not sure.
Hey, I'm a sellout. If somebody from Pornhub wants to make a movie called Mounds of Kor-Drath or Kor-Drath's Mounds, I'm down. Cut the check.
Hell yeah, hell yeah.
Clytus was Ming the Merciless right-hand man, and he had a gold mask and a hood. He looked just like Dr. Doom, except golden.
That's
Hey,
true.
and hello, Dan Lawless. Welcome.
Hello.
Hey, how are you
Good
guys?
evening.
What's going on?
Good
Welcome,
evening.
welcome.
Let's
Hello,
talk
hello.
some variant covers. Let's talk some art. Can we see the campaign? Some more of
I
the
want to
Actually, do this. Play the second video in. So the second thumbnail. This is the new before you hit play. So Jimmy Reyes in the chat, our friend Jimmy put this together and did a fantastic job.
Jimmy's
All right.
So
Brand new.
Jimmy Reyes.
Jimmy
let's
Reyes,
play
Jimmy
that
Reyes.
Jimmy Reyes.
Do it.
Blah, blah.
Nice.
Yeah, you did a great job.
Exceptional.
You did a great job on that. Exceptional.
Right?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
That is awesome.
And my wife got to see it right before it came
look, we're
on,
right
and
there.
so I said, "Well, let's get a female perspective. What do you think of it?" She goes, "That's very pretty."
Oh, there you
Here we
go.
go.
You do pretty work, Jim.
There you go.
I gotta go get my lasagna out of the oven. I'll be right back, gentlemen.
Thank
Please
you,
do.
Jimmy.
Please do.
Yeah,
I want
Jimmy,
some
that was
freaking
great.
lasagna.
I did not. I was not offered any lasagna.
And I was not offered anything.
Really, you shouldn't be saying that out loud.
He never brings enough
Have
for
enough for
everybody.
everyone. Jesus.
Virtual
The
lasagna.
thing is that his mom made the lasagna?
No, Aaron's the cook in the family.
Oh, is he?
Oh, is he? Oh, nice. Peter Orchard. I've been waiting to pull the trigger on this comic since Andy first announced it. Looks awesome, Andy. Backer number 4.
Fire away,
Thank you.
brother. Fire away.
did.
Way.
You can be backer number 560 as well if you want to do it again.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
right. Help a
There you
brother
go.
out.
So we got some. I love this cover. This is
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah. Yeah,
Dan the
colors-
man right there did the fantastic coloring.
Yeah, the colors are absolutely incredible on
Yeah.
this.
I tell you,
I
I
love it.
usually don't color stuff. I usually, of course, just draw it, and it's a heck of a lot of fun coloring stuff sometimes.
Hey, they don't make those adult coloring books for nothing.
Yeah.
Those things
this,
sell.
This is an adult
They do
coloring
sell.
book.
It's relaxing from what I hear.
Well,
Now,
kinda,
for
you
an
know,
artist, I don't think any of us ever want to use an adult coloring books. It's like, I do this all day.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, like,
the work's already done. That's what's kind of cool about it. It's like it is easier
Yeah.
because it's like, oh, it's all there. I just, I know, you have a direction. I just go in that direction. It's great,
Yeah.
Fantastic.
You're-
This is your
you're-
wraparound cover?
Dan didn't color that one, but that's the wraparound. Yeah.
That is
Lovely.
intense.
That is awesome.
So what's the story, man?
We're going
Dennis.
through covers right now.
All right.
All right.
Jeez.
And then we've got the black, white, and blood cover.
Excellent.
Nice.
Got to
No
do that.
No sharks, right? No
No
sharks.
Yeah, you heard. And then, of course, Bud Root's fabulous cover, colored by Mr. Dan.
I think that's the
That's
cover I
awesome.
got. I think I got Bud's cover.
Yeah.
Nothing
Bud
better.
Dan's cover. I apologize, Dan.
Nothing better than getting that little tiny bit of butt cheek right there.
That's right.
Anyone
Bud's
drawing,
great.
make sure you always get that
That's
little
right.
crest.
And I will say on the, I mentioned to Anna, we were talking about her calendar, and I said, you got to do a CG calendar. And she said she would
Dude.
cosplay this character. And I was like, okay,
Whoa.
that
Like,
works.
son, locked in, lock it in.
Dude,
That's a lot of skin for
I'd
Anna.
prepay for that right now.
Yeah.
Right now.
Just do it all 12 months. This costume and different poses for 12
That's
months.
it.
There you go.
That's it.
Cecil's corrupting Anna, I think.
You
Slowly.
think?
It's business. It's business. That's all.
That's right. That's right.
Show a little more skin, kid.
That's it. More and more. A little more each time. That's all you need. That's all you need. So, all right, now let's get into the story, Billy. I just went through the cover.
Yeah, well, let's do the characters. Let's talk the you don't want to give too much away, obviously, but what's the
Dennis, you can feel free and take it away.
Well, on the storyline, basically, Kor-Drath, he's part of the Red Lions, and his village, his entire tribe gets slaughtered by powerful undead. And he and his star-crossed lover, Adriana, the beautiful redhead, which must look like Jean Grey, and from the Black Eagle, she's from the Black Eagles tribe. They set out to avenge those responsible for the massacre. But their quest shows that there's more than meets the eye as enemies from undead to demons reveal themselves to the lovers. But what can these two hope to do against such odds when they find out that they're merely pawns in a much bigger game?
Ooh.
Oh, so
There's an ancient artifact involved that the Necronite and Lilith are after.
that is a great name.
Thank you.
And now, this
I love the
Necronite,
design. I
now
love
is the
the design.
Necronite really big, or is he the same size as Kor-Drath?
No, he's Kor-Drath is about 6'4". Adriana is about 5'6", 5'7". Lilith is 5'4", and Necronite's about 7 feet.
Now, Dennis, you said there were pawns in a bigger game.
Yes,
Is this pawn far by any chance?
Ooh.
it is not.
Okay.
I don't know what Dennis is doing.
Only
with this
Star
I
thing.
don't know what
Trek
Dennis
nerds
is
would
doing, but
understand that. So
I'm in.
understand, my wife does that. We were playing cards at my parents' house, and I held my fingers out, and my wife started doing this, and my brother yells, "Mom, Mom, Dennis is firing at the table again."
Okay, only you two nerds get that apparently.
What are you talking about? I thought it was like
That was like a sex thing.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
like-
I'm like,
Yes.
It
I
is.
just messaged you my
I'm
number.
like, oh,
Dennis.
see you later. Sorry.
And Randy says Star Trek mating talk. That's exactly what it is.
Mhm.
They had a whole episode dedicated to that where the guy like went crazy.
Correct.
He's just like, I like her so much, I have to have her. It was,
Wait a minute. What do you mean the guy? You mean Spock? Come on. You just claim to be a nerd. The guy? Well, you know that guy with the pointy ears? You know that guy?
The
Oh
elf.
my gosh.
We just got thank you for the
Nile,
$20
kick
super
him out.
chat, Fox
Kick him out
Mulder.
till he learns his lesson. Kick him out till he learns his lesson.
Yeah,
All
I
right,
think
he's gone. He's gone.
I think
He's
You
I
got
gone.
give him
David
Cannonball.
Company in here with us.
What if I had a cannonball right now? You'd be getting it.
Yeah. Can we get like Aaron's got the cannonball? It's an old video of the guy. He said during like the 1920s, and he would
gets
travel
shot in the
around it.
stomach.
Yeah. We need
Yeah.
something like that for when someone does
Yeah,
something. and
yeah,
we
no
put each other
problem.
in timeout.
No problem. No problem.
How about some
I'll take care of
Stooges?
that for you.
Oh, we got a
Thanks for
super
the
chat.
$20
Thank you.
super chat, Fox Mulder. Every time I think there's no way I can be more excited for the books Comicsgate is putting out, you guys keep raising the bar. This comic looks incredible on every level. Hell yeah, it
you.
does. And thank you.
There you go.
Fox.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Boom.
Now it does sound like a lot of fun, and this campaign, Andy, is far ahead of the First Man learning curve, isn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, First Man learning curve after 60 days did 33 and change, and then it ended. The campaign itself, when I took it down, ended at like 52 and change. So yeah, this one's far ahead after just 2 days.
And
We got to keep it going to get more of the stretch goals for you guys, and I will say there somebody suggested in the chat, so I actually did a Google search and emailed myself a link at temporary tattoos, because
I think
Kor-Drath,
that was Marcus. I wrote it down also.
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea.
Kor-Drath's lion tattoo would make a cool temporary tattoo, so that could be a fun stretch goal. So
to be a very cool stretch.
Well, plus
We've done
too, I
that.
mean, this story, right? I mean, there's a lot of great books out there, you know, on Indiegogo and whatnot. But this one's, to me, you know, I don't feel like there's a lot of fantasy out there. And if there,
Right.
some of the fantasy books I have seen are from creators I've never heard of,
Sure.
or met, and I'll be honest, the quality is not the best. Not gonna lie, but this is. I feel like you're bringing something to the Indiegogo scene that no one else is really doing. And if they are, I'm just gonna be honest, not doing it as well as what you
thank
guys
you.
are putting out here. And I think it's refreshing. It's a refreshing story to have here. This
well,
is
it's one of those things where, for me, as a creator, and I'm sure Billy can attest to this, and Aaron can as well, and Dan is, I know for me, I'm never satisfied. And when I finish something and get onto something else, especially something new, I'm always like, I got to hit a home run. You just go into it with that mindset of, I've got to knock this out of the park. And I know Dennis has that same feeling with basically being the first thing that he'll have written that has eyes on it like this and stuff. So,
it's how you get better. If you
Right.
have that drive, I'm gonna make
Yeah.
this one better. So
oh,
figure out
definitely.
some way to do that.
Yeah.
What's cool too, though, is just the collaboration point of it, right? Because I mean, really, like, I mean, Andy, you're known. I mean, your art is known. I mean, for
Right.
drawing just amazing, dynamic characters, and then you pair that with what Dennis has in that crazy mind of his, and you're putting together this world which really has no limits. I mean, you guys are actually expanding it with a game, right? You have the game portion, you have the book portion, and that's kind of, I think, next level, right? For, let's say, for the domestic comic book market, right? Manga
Right.
does that, right? You've got games, you got movies, you got TV shows, everything kind of works together with the books. This is kind of like the step towards that, right? You have the books, the games, whatever else you want to expand to, and it's bringing more of a world, right?
Right.
And everything just becomes more interactive.
Well, one of the other things that really was cool about this was if I were to talk about worlds and I say, oh, look, we have orcs in there, we have kobolds, we have hill giants. Everybody who's played D&D automatically pictures the stereotypical hill giant. Andy doesn't know these things, which is great, because so if I say hill giant, And there's no two hill giants that look the same. Andy's like, oh, I want to do this. So he's bringing a completely different perspective to these somewhat typical characters in some instances, and then some that are completely different. The big bad guy, which isn't on that character sheet, is actually a half frost giant lich that's hundreds of years old, and he's about 16 feet tall. And
something like that.
It's never been done in anything that I've ever seen in a campaign. So I threw this at Andy, and he came up with an absolutely incredible sketch for him, I thought.
So it's literally ignorance is artistic bliss in this situation.
Yeah.
It really is, because I'm like, one of the writing things is I told Dennis is you got to realize when you write some stuff, you might have to do a little more than if this was just a typical, modern day, takes place in New York or takes place in LA type of thing, because I know that stuff. That's what I've been doing forever. But for this stuff, you might have to be a little more descriptive and whatnot. And we're trying to, and it is good that he lives close by, so we get together once a week anyhow, just to do the DNA show. But then we'll see each other throughout the week to see a movie or something and then go over ideas and whatnot. So I've always liked the collaborative effort that goes into creating this stuff. And one of the things with the mainstream is, not every writer, but I've worked with some that are just like, oh, it's out of my hands, whatever. It's like, okay. But I like talking to people and talking things over.
Yeah, I love that. It must feel so, like you said, so fresh and refreshing and new for you, because you're building homes the way the homes look, and you're building armor, the type of armor it is. So you can do whatever the hell you want. And you're, it's almost like, I don't want to say, because I don't know if you've done this before. Like you said, you did Red Sonja and all, but I guess it's getting back to that. That's got to be exciting than doing just superhero fare.
Oh, yeah. It's really exciting to get back to it, because one of the things when I got that Red Sonja Claw gig, I was nervous to do it because I was nervous.
You're not even going to show the lasagna? Come on.
I know. You made it, right? Or is it Stouffer's?
Don't say it's Stouffer's.
He's going to turn the mic off.
I'm turning it on. I had it off while I was eating, but no, we've been part of this food chain since Shelly got cancer surgery and everything. That people have been bringing us dinner, and she's up and around. I do all the cooking anyway, but they keep bringing us food, and I keep telling Shelly, you don't want to be not grateful that but you don't also want people to bringing you stuff unnecessarily, right? Like we're taking advantage of something, but they just keep bringing it. So this was some lasagna that somebody made and brought over for us to eat. So it's very kind to these people, and we're greatly appreciative of it. But so I didn't make the lasagna.
Shout out to the food delivery people at Arados.
Yes. And 200 Watt Studios. Thanks for the $5 super chat. Congrats, Andy. Also, why doesn't Pop XP have busty ladies, JVD, etc. on stream anymore? Well, every Thursday we got Kara and Nicole on. You can't get any bustier than that. And JVD moved on. She moved on to spark back up her cosplay career, and it's going fantastic for her.
Yeah, she doesn't have time.
Make sure to support her. She doesn't have time.
She doesn't have time for us. She kind of told us that.
Yeah.
She loves it. It's fun.
That's some great opportunities, but she supports us. So
who's JVD? What's that stand for?
Jennifer Van Dam.
Girlfriend Jennifer.
Cool.
She's a peach.
Just to kind of go back to what Nile said a little bit ago, like when you are creating all this and there's not a lot of, like when you look, there's tons of this barbarian stuff out there. Like again, you have Conan, Savage Sword of Conan, Savage Conan, Conan the Adventurer, then you have Red Sonja, Invincible Red Sonja. But when you look at it, I mean, there's only really like 3 big characters like that. Like whereas, so I think this is a great introduction to that kind of genre, I guess. Yeah.
I can't get back to is what Aaron said about, and because we went through that too, unfortunately, and anyone else who has, and we're very grateful for our friends. Is that the same thing happened to us when my wife went through breast cancer and all, and everyone's bringing you so much food, and you got everything stacked, like the refrigerator's packed with food, and again, it's like lasagna or gumbo or, and just think it's kind of sad that, maybe that's something for SJWs to do. If they're begging for money on, on GoFundMe and stuff, why don't you ask your friends to send you food? Make
or
food,
or
I don't
they
think a
could
lot of
just
them have
help.
friends. I don't think they have friends.
Well, their friends don't have any food either.
They're friends, yes.
Or money.
Or they could just pout in an interview, Billy.
Oh,
that's right.
You get someone who comes in and just pouts, which personally, the more I've looked at this, I'm sure you guys are familiar with this, right? Brie Larson and I'm unsure, whatever. But when you actually watch that interview, right, and what they're doing, I mean, it almost seems like staged, right? It's like boo-hoo, and then her fans will rally around her, and it'll just be this big like upbringing of how she gets to play this role again. Because it just, to me, it seems staged. This whole interview to me seems staged.
Will you play Captain Marvel for?
I don't know. Wow. Does anyone want me to do it again?
I think her publicist is probably squirming. I mean,
oh yeah,
I don't know.
I think it's just disastrously.
Well, it just shows. I mean, if this was a genuine big hit and people went because they loved the movie and the movie was so great and it made $800 million,
it made $1 billion. It made
$1 billion.
Yes.
That's $200 million more than Avatar made or cost or whatever. Or Titanic. That's 200. It's made $200 million. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Sorry. Don't you think they would immediately went into pre-production for the sequel immediately?
Well, they couldn't because of COVID. They couldn't because of COVID.
Yeah, I mean,
the writers couldn't write in their.
Well, they could do that, but I think I don't know. I mean, it really depends. It really, I guess, depends on what their long-term plans are. Because I will say, at least with Marvel, it seems like they have a roadmap behind the scenes of like this movie, then, instead of sticking to the, and I don't mind this, instead of sticking to the thing where it's like, oh my God, this movie did great, we have to have a sequel out in 2 years.
Yeah.
Because that's always what it's been. A movie does great, 2 years later, there's another one, 2 years later, there's another one. Now, I will say there's also something to be said for 4 to 5 years between a movie, because it's like, Jesus, then people just lose interest.
Well,
think about it.
But here's the thing, right? Number one, who's keeping her from being Captain Marvel again, right? It's not the fans. So why is she like, well, I don't know. I mean, Feige makes that decision, right? And then two, if this movie was as successful and well accepted as everybody wants us to believe it was, they would have made a sequel.
Yeah,
because
I agree.
The only reason they make movies is to make money. And so remember there was all that thing about how they were faking the box office and all this kind of crap that, it's super popular and it's selling out. Then every time you went to a theater, there was nobody there except you. And
you know, like, Dennis and I went and saw a movie. I can't remember which one it was, Dennis, but I'm pretty sure it was a Marvel movie. And, you know, when we got the tickets and you choose your seats, we got our seats, but it was pretty much filled, right? Except for like the front rows with the handicap and stuff. I'm not kidding. Dennis, I hope you remember the movie. We sat down 20 minutes in, there were no more than 20, 30 people in that whole theater. So that was a bunch of crap.
Yeah.
That it was sold out. There was no way.
No way.
Yeah.
We got a $5 super chat from 200 Watts Studio. Her pelvis was moving when Feige cast her. Let's be honest.
Oh, Lord. Come on. We all know. Come on. Look at her backside. There's nothing to shake there.
But
the mounds aren't bad.
She works out a lot.
I think she became a victim of her own hubris and believing the hype of her character. Because, I mean, when you look at all the other interviews, like when she's sitting there with Chris Hemsworth, she's like, you know, my character's more powerful than you. It's like, like that, like that's a fantasy world. Like, why are you even, my movie made more money than you.
One of the things that they addressed it. So in the private chat, I just dropped a link. They did a great video breaking down Brie Larson, and it's the 5 habits that make people dislike you immediately. And she literally does them all the time in all the interviews. Anything that you do wrong from a charisma standpoint, she breaks them. Now, they also do show when she's on some of the late night shows, she can do very nice things. But that was pre-Brie Larson, before this Marvel. Everything after it, she literally breaks every cardinal rule, and there's a reason that she is so disdained.
Well, that's
the only Marvel movie I fell asleep at.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. People don't like her. And she's done that to herself by how she's behaved. And that may be a part of the reason why they're not going forward with anything, because they think it'll tank because everybody hates her now.
Well, just look at her face right there. That look in that face is just not a pleasant look.
She's smug.
Well, it's sad too, because the movie that she made a name for herself, The Room, I think it was called, was a good movie. And that's before anybody knew anything about her personality and stuff. It was just, oh, what's this movie? And you watched it and it was engaging and it was a good story. And, that's what made her. But then the press junket she did for Captain Marvel was just like, oh, shut her up.
I think the boy won the Academy Award for that movie, if I remember correctly.
What's that, Dennis?
I think the boy in The Room, that was the son, I think he actually won the award for that movie, if I remember correctly. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, she won an Academy Award.
Yeah, didn't she win one for it?
Oh, she won an Academy Award for that? Yeah. The boy was the standout in that movie.
Yeah, her only good role was in Scott Pilgrim.
Personality. I think 21 Jump Street was better than her character in Scott Pilgrim, I think.
Wait, she was in 21 Jump Street?
She was the girl.
Yeah, she was the main.
Oh.
She was the one banging Jonah Hill.
It's been so long since I've seen that movie. I have to go back and watch it now.
She was in that King Kong. What was it, Skull Island? Or
yeah, I knew that. Because
I didn't know that. My son told me, and I go, "What?" And then I went back and watched the movie again. And I go, "Oh yeah, that is Brie Larson." And then I couldn't stand her after I watched her in King Kong because I took that whole baggage with me.
Did you take any baggage of Tom Hiddleston as Loki? Because Tom Hiddleston was in it too. So
I like Tom Hiddleston.
I know.
Yeah, Tom Hiddleston.
Yeah, no, I knew she was in that, but
he could do no wrong.
That's right. Tom Hiddleston's a saint.
Yeah. But no, I mean, the sequel.
Dorothy Mantooth is a saint.
The sequel for called The Marvels. What is this? Is it next year or 2024? It's coming out.
2023 now. It got pushed back.
It is.
Yeah.
Oh, it's coming back next year. Coming out next year. Yeah. So, but I mean, that thing is just going to be a train wreck. Let's be real.
Oh yeah,
it is going to be a train wreck because the TV show was a train wreck, and spoiler alert, it ended with the girl turning into Brie Larson. I don't know if you saw that or not, but
yeah.
Can we hit what Dennis is thinking about? Do you guys want to do that and check out why people?
Sure, let's watch it.
Because then I want to share something about somebody else who's pouting.
Well, it's like 15 minutes long or something.
Oh, all right,
I shared the link. The link is shared in the chat.
Well, I'm going to show someone else who's pouty. Or maybe not someone else, but maybe an entire.
You said you would never share that video, Billy. I gave it to you.
I'm sorry, Dr. Blevins. I got to do it. Or perhaps an entire island that's not happy. Aaron Lepresti.
What?
Oh,
is this Gilligan's Island?
Oh, I saw this.
Yeah.
Dude, I saw this on the news tonight.
I did not.
Was this real?
Yes.
This is real.
Oh, I didn't Snopes it. It seemed just too good to not be like.
Real.
I like that you can see what Billy's been searching with kilts everywhere.
I know.
Yeah.
My kilt proved to be such a big hit that now for the color guard for the American Legion that will be leading the 2023 local St. Patty's Day parade.
Oh, really?
That we're like, let's get kilts. So now I'm looking at kilts for affordable kilts for all of us to get, like of our branch of services and stuff. So I just might wear my clan kilt. But come on, you can't. How can you not love this? I mean, look at
hilarious.
Because they say they are a sanctuary island, right? But now what are they?
All these cities run their mouth about we're sanctuary this, sanctuary that. I mean, the one woman it was either in Chicago or DC that said this is like a border state now.
Yeah.
Oh, well, what's the problem?
Yeah. Well, they're gonna feed them to the Jaws. I think probably at Martha's Vineyards where they filmed Jaws. So they better be.
What are the so everybody? I hope that all the highfalutin restaurants and eateries and bagel shops. I hope they open their doors to these people. Yep, the Obamas live on all the swell.
Says Florida Governor DeSantis says funds are in place to bus illegal immigrants out of his state.
Look at that little private airport. That's usually hosting princes and the Pelosi's and the Obamas and
hope they brought some tents too, so they can set up, in the backyard.
Well, they definitely have a lot of money there. They could set something up for them.
Well, it's
Look at that.
amazing because
DeSantis
Martha's
is
Vineyard
like-
is going to be sinking into the ocean any time now. We've been told for the last 20 years.
Well, do you think that if there's so many, if Martha's Vineyard gets full of, immigrants, that it might tip over?
Oh yeah, like that one senator,
like that island, like Guam.
Yeah.
It's like don't spill the beans.
Right.
Well, that started with Trump. If you remember, Trump was like, you know what? Okay, you want these, these immigrants to come in, these migrants to come in. We're going to start dropping them off at, in New York and in Chicago and in Baltimore and Washington, D.C. Remember when he did that a few years ago?
Yep.
And they went nuts, calling him a racist and all this. They're like, wait a minute. You just proudly proclaimed yourself. It's unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
And there's another thing. If I could show a video, I don't know if I should show it or we could talk about it, but it's in Denmark. And there's someone interviewing people. Would you take in when they had that massive influx of migrants through Germany and Denmark? And like, would you take an immigrant in? And the people are like, of course I would take one in. And then they're like, well, here is Ahmed. Ahmed's 18 years old. He's a single male. So if we could just have the key to your house, we'll drop him off what your address is. And like, oh, no. Oh, well, like I'm off to work or I really don't have the room. It's great seeing these people panic. It's so great.
It's horrible.
Hey, Andy and Dennis are on Mike Barron's show, right? Crazy?
Yeah, we're
our
good at doing.
doppelgangers.
We're multitaskers. Let me tell you.
So I
love that. I saw that on the news tonight, and that just cracked me up. And then, even in Chicago, they talked to a mayor in another city, close to where the mayor of Chicago, Chicago is. He's a Democrat mayor, and he's like, they're not asking us; they're just busing them over to our city. And he's like, we don't have the infrastructure for this. Nobody's asking us. They're not testing them for anything or checking background.
But that's what
It's
they
okay
want.
for Florida.
They want all these immigrants to come in to what they perceive as red or purple states, so they'll swing the Democratic vote. So it doesn't do them any good if you put them in already
That's right.
Democratic-controlled cities.
Exactly right.
Yep.
They're not. This isn't like they're not interested in the humanity or helping anybody. They're interested in getting votes.
Absolutely not.
And these Republican governors are screwing up their voting plans by shipping these people to other Democrat cities that are already voting Democrats. They're not gaining anything from it.
Right.
Hey,
So
if they cared
show.
if they cared about the poor, they wouldn't have raised the gas tax and doubled the gas prices for all the poor people.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Well, yeah. Well, you look at what
now,
they're doing.
now they
again.
can't even afford the nectar.
Yeah.
Look,
Yeah.
you declared yourself sanctuary cities. So guess what? Welcome. Put your money where your mouth is.
Yep.
That's right.
And speaking of putting your money where your mouth is, let's look at that cool brew.
Actually,
That's right.
Axe me.
Axe Me Beer. The parody ad is back. Fourth one I've done.
Yes.
As soon as I get before I know it, I'll have a whole book of parody ads I can put together.
Yeah, that would be a Kickstarter on its own.
Perfect, Andy.
Oh, we just got another
this is
$5
such a
super
great
chat.
idea. I want to steal it, and I want to use that newspaper filter too that you put on there.
You're more than welcome to, because I'll be honest, for the last two First Man campaigns, I really was thinking about doing a variant cover of a Silver Age or, cover like you do, with the Marvel logo treatment and all that. And I never did. And I was telling Dennis for this, I was like, it would be cool if I did the Conan #1 cover that Barry Windsor Smith did.
Yeah.
Oh, neat.
Exact same thing as a variant.
Oh,
And he was like, that would be great. And I'm like, oh, Aaron is just cornering the market on those things, though.
And
You guys remember
That
when
happened with you, Billy. That happened with you as well. Remember Tomb of Dracula #1?
Well,
200 Watt
thing
Studios
is
is
that
still on Brie Larson. Thanks for the super chat, 200 Watt.
Thank you for the super chat. Well, I have to do so. If I can share the screen again for New York Comic, just real quick. It's only gonna be
I
a
love
second.
this.
But
if I didn't care about the poor, I wouldn't be supporting you in this campaign.
Thank you very much. And, being poor, you should support it, more.
So for the New York Comic Con, I put it out there, for our 25th anniversary of our Eisner Award nominated Kaidan book. I I'm going to do a retro cover, like an homage cover.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
Yeah, you know, so I put it out there and the people voted. And I'll show you the cover we're going to do. I want to do the big reveal here, if that's all right, because I have to draw it next week. But yes, so here's the cover we're gonna do it on.
Oh, very nice.
Nice.
I mean, wouldn't that be cool? What do you think, Andy?
Yeah,
Like
go
this,
for it.
You know, there's she there, and this could
That's a
be
great
like
idea.
a vampire guy, like Max Schreck or someone.
Yeah, maybe we should all do Tomb of Dracula #1 tribute covers for our
There you
camp.
go.
Everybody, I'll do one. I'll do one too, even though I don't have a book or any artistic talent.
No, but
Hey,
ladies and gentlemen,
who's the
It was a
original?
connecting
Aaron
back cover when
Lepresti.
you get everyone's.
Yeah.
And who did the original art on that? I mean, Aaron, who did the original art on that?
Kane.
Neil Adams.
Oh,
No,
Neil
Neil
Adams.
Adams.
You're right. Sorry,
Okay.
Neil Adams. You're right.
Now that's a
Looks
swipe,
like Gil
Billy.
Kane, except for the face. Now that's a swipe. But ladies and gentlemen, Aaron Lepresti, $82,666. Somebody please buy Aaron a drink. No, you can buy Andy a drink, and that'll go to Aaron's, and he'll be 60. No,
There you go.
Totally unrelated. Aaron, can I borrow $8, please?
Aaron, this is fantastic. You had $2,500 you're only asking for. This is why, because you want a 3,000%, you little scamp, you. To have the biggest percentage points, because you may be getting your clock cleaned by a girl right now.
We'll catch her. We'll catch her. I've got a plan.
But I'm sure your percentage.
Well, share that plan with me.
No, hang on a second. It's a tortoise and a hare. She's out front early.
Yeah,
We're gonna finish strong, and I'm gonna catch her.
There you
it's
go.
a marathon, not a sprint.
That's right.
Aaron, you've been doing this for what, 6 days, 5 days now?
Yes.
How do you feel? I mean, how is this compared to the Wraith of God 1?
Well, I didn't keep track of every day, but I opened at 36,000 with Wraith of God in the first 24 hours. This one was 62,000.
Oh,
Wow.
First
Well,
24 hours.
you,
So
buddy.
I'm way ahead of where I was last time, and I owe it all to these wonderful people
Yep. Thank you all.
in the chat. And I do want to point out that Andino is quite an acerbic wit. I don't always get his comments on my show because he gets a little salty. But I do have a cannonball waiting for him on Sunday. As long as the same with Citizen Ronan. I just want those guys to know that their remarks did not go unnoticed by me, and there will be revenge.
It is coming. The storm is coming.
Yeah,
You'll rue the day, you will.
Yeah.
Rue the day.
Great job, buddy. Really proud. I mean, again, this thing just keeps cooking. Have you checked Backer Kit to see what your
Projection?
your projection is?
Those projections are BS. Because if you open really fast and big, they'll like. I remember when Wraith of God opened up, they were projecting over 300 grand. I'm like, yeah, that's not going to happen. So I like to. I'll check it maybe in a week or so when it kind of, starts to even out a little bit and see what it says. But
look at that! Well done.
Paul says, "Sorry, not sorry, but Wraith of God is the best book to come out of CG so far."
Oh, I think you got a little bit of
Paul.
competition. I think we all got a little competition here.
It's good for
Well,
you.
you know what I was surprised.
Healthy competition though. No evil. No evil.
Excellent.
All
And what's
hell.
your next stretch
It's all
goal?
love.
You got over 1,000 backers.
we're
So-
blasting through the stretch goals. There's already a. If you roll down a little bit, there's a stretch goal list there. I'm going to make sure I get them right. Keep going. Past the covers. There's the 1965 Tales of Suspense cover.
I'm still doing this.
Anybody's super old and wants to get a real throwback.
I did get that, and I'm not super old. How dare
Well,
you?
show an appreciation for that which is super old. So
Now, is this a Dino right here that you drew?
who?
A Dino?
Maybe.
Hey, you
Well,
guys,
maybe that's him.
a happy
What a page,
discovery.
buddy. Look at that.
Love that page. I love that.
You know, what was a happy discovery was that Aaron can really write. Holy shit, can he write? It's a great story, I mean, I knew you're a good artist, but I didn't know you could write like that. Wow.
Dude, great stuff. Great stuff. Look at that.
World of
Love
Conan.
it. I love
Are
doing
you and
rough
Andy
cut.
doing the
There we
Conan
go.
variant
All right.
cover?
There you go.
I'll think about it. I'll give it some thought because I mean I do like the idea, but I also don't want to go variant cover. Crazy.
All right, so 120. Every backer receives a Queen of Hearts Esther playing card.
Yeah, in the first campaign, we had the Wraith of God Ace of Spades playing card that everybody got.
Oh.
And now we'll have a Queen of Hearts with Esther on it to go with it. At 100,000, we're going to add 15 pages of Kit Carter. That's the Space Babe behind me in my picture there. There she is.
Oh yeah.
And so yeah, we've already got the retro editorial page that those of you who got the book that I included in the first book that had like the value stamp in there and listed all the titles that were coming from Empire Comics. And then I'm going to add letters page. And then we've got a Kit Carter card coming, and that's going to have original art on it. It's not going to be an image that I've got sitting around or used before. I'm going to draw art specifically for that card. And then when we hit 80, which we did, it's a Garbage Man trading card with new art on it as well. So
Yes.
Nice.
there's some cool stuff coming.
Love it.
15
Nice.
pages of the Kit Carter. That's sexy Space Babe, as you said.
That's right.
Yeah, she's
And there's your partner, Merv the Astro Chimp, which those people who signed up early we'll get that card right there. He is drinking space beer.
All right, question for you guys, because we're thinking about this. My wife is telling me absolutely not, because we're gonna launch a new campaign next month. How the hell can you track the people that actually do sign up early, that you get their addresses and all that, you could send them a card?
So, Aaron, do you want to take it? Because Aaron and I did it the same way.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the first time I did it, I downloaded the CVS file from the early signups. Now all that has is people's email address, and it doesn't have their names or anything. It just has their email address. So then when your campaign closes, you have to cross-reference that list with your perks, what perks they ordered on the orders list that you get. And you have to cross-reference them, which takes a lot of time, especially if you have a lot of early signups. So this time, what both Andy and I did was we sent out a secret perk for every, sorry. It used to be turned off. Jeez.
I need more lasagna.
Man, need more lasagna.
So, like, hey, do you
Why
need
can't
some
I turn it
lasagna?
off?
We're gonna
Okay.
bring you some
Total
lasagna.
boomer moment. I couldn't get my phone off. Okay, so what we did then was we made secret perks for every perk that included the card, right? So then we sent that out on an email I used MailChimp and sent it with all the links on it. I sent this email out to all the early signups. And unfortunately, some of the links in some of the emails randomly didn't work. So I have actually a side list going for people that ordered and they couldn't get the links to work. So I just put their name on this list, and we'll give them a card by order. But those are the only two ways you can do it. There's no way to like put in an order code or something where there's no place for it for people to order and you get, oh, there's the code, I'll give them a card. So, but the people that use the secret perks, when they order, it shows up on their order. It'll say like, Wraith of God Blood Hunters cover A, and then Merv the Astro Chimp card. So I'll know when I'm filling the order, oh, they get a card. And so that it's kind of a pain in the butt to set up those extra secret perks, but it's the easiest way on the back end of the campaign to fill those things without there being confusion or you missing somebody.
All right. And you are over 1,000 backers. How many backers did you guys have for the first book?
2660.
Oh boy, that's a lot. And you and Shelly and your mom fulfilled all on your own.
Yeah, mostly me, because Shelly had I had about a week and a half of Shelly helping, and then she had the surgery, so she was out of action. Yeah. So it was just me and Grandma. And Grandma put all the books and everything in the bags and backing boards, so I didn't do any of that. But then I put together every single package. I touched
you went up.
Package that got mailed out.
You just went up to 82,724. You just got a big order.
Oh, Andy's just went down.
No,
not again.
I'm ciphering money.
Damn you!
Let's get this, Daddy. Let's just get that.
I just refunded mine because
Congratulations.
Aaron's had some cool stuff.
Thank you.
Hey, I have a crazy question to ask. I've already asked this to Billy, but I'd love to ask you guys. So I don't know if you're familiar with what's going on with Rob Liefeld and the release of his Brigade book. but
No.
he has his new Brigade #1 book that's coming out, and he has a huge list of artists. It's like each page is done by a different artist all the way
Right.
down the line. I don't know if you guys have
I
seen
knew that, yeah.
that, right?
Yeah.
So I guess my question is that just like laziness, or is
Well, it's not a new book.
it-
It's actually
Yeah.
the original Brigade that came out 30 years ago. He's putting it back out, but instead of I think Murat Michaels drew the first one when it came out.
Yep.
I could be wrong. So for the 30th anniversary, he's releasing it again, but with a different artist drawing every page using that page's original layout. I think it's kind of cool. I bought the Prophet one that he put out like that.
That is
Absolutely.
cool,
So
Blevins. I didn't know
this
that. You didn't explain it to me that way. I
Yeah,
didn't know
this
that was the case. I think that's cool then.
Well, this is where my question come in, because he did this with the last issue of Snake Eyes Endgame, like the very last issue.
Well, Snake Eyes, he drew the whole thing, but somebody else inked every page.
Is it just the very last one? Everybody inked the pages. I thought everybody.
Yeah, no, the last Snake Eyes, he drew the whole book, but then a different inker
for each
inked
page
over him.
Well, my question was: is it laziness or is it genius? Because
I think it's actually, if he does what he did with Prophet, which is he re-released Prophet the way it was, just with new covers, for the 30th anniversary, and then he released Prophet where every page was drawn by a different artist. And I bought them both, even though I had the original Prophet.
Yeah.
And I have Brigade #1 anyhow, but with him re-releasing it this way with a different artist, and he's getting good artists. It's not like he's getting no names to do it.
Oh no, yeah,
he's getting good artists to do each page. I got to tell you, I think it's awesome. In fact, I think Billy should do she #1 that way and have a different artist draw every page
for the 30th anniversary. Which is
well, I don't know when that is, but yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, first of all,
but Blevins, explain it the way you did, because you were saying more like a general production of a book.
Yeah. So here's the reason why I asked if it's genius or if it's laziness, right? Like if he has a pool, like if he has a stable of talent already set up, like an average comic book page is say 24 pages, right? So he has a stable of 24 artists, and he all has the same page rate for all of them. Like he goes, hey, look, this is my page rate that I'll pay you for all these guys. And then he gives them all the pages. He can turn a book in pencils and possibly even inks in like a week time period if it takes them like 4 days to draw a page.
I mean, he could, but I'm sure this project's been in the burner, and I don't know this for a fact, but I'm assuming he's had this idea percolating for probably a year, and it's been worked on that long, so every artist can fit that page into their schedule.
Right.
That's an excellent idea, though.
I was just trying to say, like, do you think it's genius? Like, has he discovered a new way to crank out a new book without having to do it all himself and do it like he's like, hey, look, I think I want to, like Billy. It's like, say Billy had the stable of people, he could be like, I think I want to do she with a different page. So he just sends all of them. Like he could have all the pencils and inks done in a week, basically, if he already had them on standby for him. I
know what you're saying, but it's all like, I guess the only word that I'm getting hung up on is you keep a new book, and to me it's not new because it's the 30th anniversary. So it's now if he was doing a brand like. If he was doing a brand new book where he wrote it and said, I'm going to do this new #1 book, I'm going to write it, but instead of having one guy draw it, I'm going to have 24 guys draw it and one colorist.
Yeah, I think I chose.
I still wouldn't think that's lazy. I think it'd be kind of cool depending on who the artists are.
Yeah, me too.
I think it would be
it could
distracting.
turn out that quick, though. I think it would be distracting too, to having each page being different in a sequential series.
Yeah, that's
going
why
on.
I'm trying
because that's to me, it's like when you're reading the story, it's
special.
submergence into the story. When if
that's
anything
why
that
I wouldn't
distracts
do
you,
it.
anything that takes you out of that is not good.
Unless
that's why I wouldn't do it for a brand new book.
Yeah,
I wouldn't do it for an original story, but doing it for like an anniversary thing where you can look at their original, Brigade that came out 30 years ago by Murat Michaels, where it is the one artist and everything. I think for a 30-year anniversary gimmick, it's pretty fun.
Yeah,
Where's
that
this
sounds
guy?
like a fun game.
I guess
Where the
maybe
heck's
I
this
chose,
guy?
maybe saying new was the wrong word. I just wanted you. I said new instead of saying original because
Right.
it's not an original story.
No.
But it is a brand new book
Mhm.
with inks and pencils that no one has seen before.
Yeah.
Yep.
Even though it's the same
Story.
story that was done, it is
Yeah.
a new book that people haven't seen
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
And that was the reason why I used the word new.
Right. Sure.
I wasn't trying to discredit
No,
his
no,
work
yeah.
or anything like that. I was just, again, the whole point of it all is I was just trying to say, like, is this something that could work normally for other items? Like, I mean, is this like a new way of cranking something out?
No, I don't think
It's
so.
not, because people have done that before. I've had
Yeah.
fill-in artists do some pages and stuff like that for me.
Yeah.
Not unless they can do it
Back in
without
the
you
day.
knowing. That would be the
And I do
regular
agree
book.
with Dan. I think as a gimmick, it's cool, but I think as this is how I'm going to do a book, I'd be like, no, like Dan said, it could be a little distracting. You know, like when Image did the Image United, which never got finished, and I can understand why, because Robert Kirkman wrote a story using all the main 7 original Image creators' characters, and the whole thing was, I think Eric Larson laid out the whole book, but then the pages would get physically mailed to every artist to draw their character, and then I think draw pencil and ink their character, and I think one of them took on the task of just doing the backgrounds, and the book never got finished. They got 4 out of 6 issues done. It was cool to look at because you're reading a story where it's like, oh, look, Witchblade's drawn by Silvestri, and it's a big group panel. And it's like, oh, Savage Dragon's drawn by Larson. So it's it was cool from that. But, kind of like Dan said, too, the art styles were different and stuff. So it wasn't cohesive from that standpoint.
I remember reading in comics when I read comics of old, when they switched artists on you into a good one from a bad one, it wasn't too much fun,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, Art Tabir has a message for us, for customers. So just in the chat there.
Hey,
Oh,
Dan,
yeah.
where are the horns, brother?
We're the horns, brother.
Oh, the
Where's
horns.
Art right now?
Yeah, where's RT
Where's
there?
Art?
Get in here, RT there.
Isn't he on the Pontificators, or is that over?
Is he doing his own show? It's
Well, the pontificators were on.
the Pontificators.
The pontificators.
I just find it crazy that Brie Larson actually laid out an entire Image book, and the other guys then were going to draw.
I know.
Larson did, right?
Yeah.
There it is.
Whoa.
Look at that.
Over the couple, I think I streamed for about 7 hours or something.
What happened to
and the
all your
horn fell
horns,
off?
man?
Oh, no.
Yeah, that looks like it's seen better days, brother.
Yeah.
Did RT Bear's dog get to that?
Damn.
At least I could fix it if I wanted to.
Get the Gorilla Glue.
There you go.
It's like Death Dealer, man. He lost one of his horns.
If you guys watch the stream near the end, it starts kind of going like this.
No way.
Like after hours, and it's like you can see through it, like through the light here. You're kind of like
Oh,
see it
Dennis
kinda-
put his on. He has to always
it's just
show
taped
up.
in there, It's
Dennis got
that.
2 horns and they're pointed up.
Are you kidding me?
He took that out of Genghis Khan's
I wore
grave.
this, and Dan went and got his. So we are barbarian brothers.
Absolutely.
Dennis's
is a lot better than
Dennis's
mine.
helmet took Viagra, it looks like. So
Yeah.
This thing is
Dennis,
disintegrating.
What is that on the table behind you, to your over your left shoulder?
Which table?
Oh, the one over your left shoulder.
This one?
Left shoulder, your military left. There you go. Yeah, that.
Like a Star Wars?
That. The Han Solo gun?
That. So these are the art replicas. So the guy who
Wow.
made these actually made
Yeah, it
these.
is.
He's the one who made them for the movies. So this one actually makes sound, but yeah, this is the heavy blaster for Han Solo. And then we were having props on the last one, and then this is actually metal. It's Princess Leia's gun, where she set it to stun.
here's what I can't believe about that gun. I've never really seen it in detail until our stream earlier. What is that? Just a freaking 45 base that they extended
Yeah.
some shit on?
Yes.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
looks like it has a
It has a
silence
laser
on it.
silence. A
It is
laser
a
silence.
9.11, and well, if you look at Solo's gun, is because I'm drawing it now. It's a broom handle Mauser, like the rocket.
Oh, really?
Yes,
See, it's
that's
a
exactly
broom
what it
handle
is. It's a
Mauser, see?
modified Mauser.
I love how they got so sci-fi with this stuff. Nobody was really like, "Hey, wait a second, Princess Leia's shooting a freaking 45 with an extender."
Yeah.
The
If
guy
you show
was
my
just,
seat, I'm doing the broom handle Mauser.
Oh yeah,
Yes. On Solo,
nice.
baby, right there.
Yeah.
The people that own that gun, the real life part of it, they were trying to sell it for like $3 million or whatever on one of the shows.
Did Tom
Holy-
McFarlane buy it?
No, nobody bought it. Nobody bought it. I think they were offered $1 million, and they're just like, "Nah, we'll keep it."
million, it would have been out the door.
Peter
Yeah.
David owns Luke Skywalker's lightsaber from Return of the Jedi, I think.
Yeah, you know when he asked that. Remember when he had that GoFundMe to help pay his taxes? I
Yep.
bet if he sold some of his stuff, he could have paid his taxes.
Yeah, he's
I
got
thought
some
Art-
nice.
I
He's
thought
got
Art
some nice
T. Barrett
art,
owned
too.
all that stuff. I
He
thought
did a
Art owned
GoFundMe to
everything.
pay his taxes.
Yep.
Yeah, you didn't know that?
He got screwed somehow with taxes, and he was in bad shape, and he did a GoFundMe, and he raised $88,000 or something like that. But he also I think he did, but he's got a lot of great art. I mean, I think he's got even a couple of those McFarlane.
I'm sorry, but at
one or
that
two of
point,
them or
you
something.
need to sell your stuff. to
Right,
pay
that
your
was the-
bills
before you
start
beg for
asking
money.
people to pay
That was
for
the
it.
point. This was like 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
He puts up a GoFundMe and he says that, he got a tax bill because he forgot to pay him like 8 or 9 years before, something like that. And the thing that cracked me up about the GoFundMe is he ended it with, and I guess, this isn't verbatim, but this is the sense of it. He was basically like, and I guess if you want me to sign some books or something in return, I can do that. And it's like, seriously, dude?
What?
I know how much, like you, Billy, I know he has a big collection.
Who
But
was
like
it?
Aaron said, if you owe money on taxes, sell your stuff.
Yeah, we had to do when comics got bad in like 2002, 2003.
Mhm.
I have, we went through this on the Bros. I think one time we talked about collecting. I had one of the 50 Death Dealer statues made, the Bowen Death Dealer statue. I had it's bronze. I had the only one that Frazetta, because Frazetta painted his name on the base for me. He signed it for me.
Oh my.
I had, but what am I going to do? I have a family. I got 2 kids. I got to take care of them. I got a mortgage to pay. So I sold that. I had another Frazetta. I had the Outlaw of Torn color study. I had to sell that. I had a head. I had a Walt Disney bronze head. It was one of the most rarest of all Walt Disney paraphernalia from the statue the guy made for Walt Disney World in Paris. And it's a statue of Walt holding Mickey's hand and he's pointing.
Yeah,
and he's smiling.
yeah.
Well, the sculptor who made that, or not the sculptor, but the bronze master or whoever did that, he made an extra head. And somehow I bought it. I think I traded a whole case of She number ones for it. That's how popular She number one was.
Wow.
For it in '95. But I had to sell. I got like $4,000 for it back then when I sold it. But you do you got to do. I had an M14 rifle. I sold that for $4,500. I mean, I totally regret that decision.
Sure.
But what are you gonna do? But I had like I said, I got a family I had to feed.
Yeah.
Somebody offered me for this Frazetta She cover.
Mhm.
They offered us a lot of money. I sold that. I had the double page spread from Kingdom Come #4, the one where all the superheroes fighting, where Captain Marvel and Superman are about to punch each other. The
No
Alex Ross
kidding.
one.
Oh, wow.
Huge double page spread over my
Wow.
fireplace in my office. And Sam called me one day. You saw that painting? I'm like, yeah. And he goes, if I give you this for it, and I'm like, Deb, Sam wants to give me this. She's like, yes. I want to, but what are you going to do?
Right.
Yep.
You got bills to pay.
Yeah.
Man.
Now I'm going to start
Gosh.
a GoFundMe. Now I'm going to start an OnlyFans.
That's
Right.
great. Oh, there you go.
There'd be-
Speaking of bills and some crazy money stuff, what did you guys see that kind of like cryptic tweet from Mitch Breitweiser? Just like out of
Yeah.
nowhere?
Yeah.
Yes.
What the heck is this all about? And Blevins, Blevins helped him out with the crowdfunding. He opened up his store, because he still has the building, and they did everything. But this is kind of crazy. And I was like going through these tweets and everything, and now he's in there. Our first partner pillaged funds and defrauded investors, had to use our life savings to make it to Walmart. Distributor changed our terms 1 year and took everything else. Haven't made $1 from them since. And I mean, he's going into selling their house and this and that.
I know.
Like, where
Which
the
all
heck
that
did this
stuff
come
happened.
from? Yeah, all this stuff definitely happened.
If I may talk again, I'll be quiet. I'm gonna let you finish. But first of all, you're absolutely right. If I may, real quick, yes, Dr. Masks, you're absolutely right.
That is true.
Thank God, I was very blessed to have that. Is that so before Ethan went out there to visit him and talk to him and stuff, we had a phone call, and it was the three of us on a conference call. And I remember Ethan was saying that, well, I want to do cyber fraud, blah, blah, blah. And Mitch wanted to go big. No, I want to go big. I'm going to have a whole new universe. And I'm like, listen, that sounds great and all, but I've been there. I've done this before. Mm-hmm. Stick with one book. Do one book with this new Kickstarter thing that's out there. Or, I didn't think Indiegogo's mentioned, they were talking Kickstarter at the time. I'm like, do that. Stick with the Red Rooster book. I think that was the book. Yeah. And stick with that. Grow that audience. If you get a couple of issues under your belt, a couple of campaigns, because it's not easy to fulfill these books. It's going to be a lot of work. Once you're done with that, then you launch another character after 1 or 2 campaigns or something like that. And he was like, nope, I want to go one way. I remember Ethan wanted to go the other way. I still was too nervous to pull the trigger with with the crowdfunding, because I was just terrified about the whole idea. What if it fails? Mm-hmm. Thank you to all you people. Thank God you helped change my life again. But I remember that conversation that he wanted to go big, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna ease back because let me try to figure this out what I'm doing. But you guys keep going, and then they really took off together and started talking about stuff. But I'm sorry, Nile.
No, I was just this kind of blew me away. I first saw this. I saw this morning. Ethan had done a video on this yesterday. He was chatting about it, and I was like, well, what's this about? Because I know Mitch. I met him through Billy. I don't have any issues with the guy.
Nice, yeah.
As a businessman, I know sometimes you have to make really tough decisions that maybe fans and stuff won't like. But this I thought was kind of weird until I kind of went through, and then I read, that they're trying to build up, how to scale our online audience. So now is this a move to just be transparent and be like, hey, we lost everything? Like, is this like a plea to them to just, try to get some type of support? Because it came out of left field. Like this tweet just came out of left field, and it says, now but who was asking? Who wanted to know what was going on?
They fulfilled their books, right?
Yeah,
they fulfilled it.
Yep.
I honestly don't know.
I don't know how long the contracts were.
Blevins, they used Blevins' store to fulfill.
Yeah.
They set up the whole fulfillment there and everything. But I just noticed, I see that, and it came to be, kind of cryptic and just out of nowhere. And I mean, you guys are creators. I mean, you're doing your thing like this. I mean, that was a big move they made. I mean, did you guys see this and try to, was there anything to try to decipher, like, hey, what's going on here?
No, like you said, when I read it, it was just such out of the blue. I thought everything was going great, getting into Walmart. Now, like you, and I don't know Mitch other than being friends on social media and stuff. But, when he announced that he was doing this stuff and doing 4 books, I was like, wow, 4 books. He must be really doing well. And then when he got him into Walmart, I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. And, Dennis and I would see him in Walmarts here, and we bought some of them.
Yeah.
Because I'm all about trying to support if I can.
Yeah. And I liked him, by the way. We got
they're pretty good books,
and I thought they were all solid.
Yeah.
I mean, you had Blake Northcott working on it. Kelsey was working on it. I mean, you had some great creators.
Oh, yeah. They were gorgeous.
And creators from the community that were working on it. I mean, they were gorgeous.
But I don't know. I guess.
Aaron, weren't you saying that it's the old business model? That's the problem.
Well, yeah, it can't work. And companies prove it over and over and over again and fail because you can't compete with Marvel and DC. The market is just not big enough. The only way that can work is like we're doing individual projects where you have a core audience that, and you hope to expand over time, of course, but with a core audience that likes your project and will support your project. But when you're out there just trying to, there isn't a big comic book market, newsstand market, if you will, like there used to be. and there's only, as Howard Chaykin told me one time, he goes, he doesn't even, and I don't know if I agree with this or not, but it's a bit of hyperbole, but it makes the point. He said, there's not even enough comic book fans out there to fill a football stadium, and so if you try to compete with Marvel or DC, you're going to fail.
Yeah.
Because they've got that market, and no one,
and they're failing.
Yeah, well, they're
miserable.
failing now, but that's their own doing, though.
Yeah.
But CrossGen tried to compete with it, that Andy and I both know well, because we both worked there, and we both knew it wasn't going to last. But they got 3 years out of it. Malibu tried the same thing, and it didn't last. It's just really, really hard to do that sort of a model and have it be successful. Now, I think what's going on here is there's a lot of perception about the Breitweisters, whether it's true or not. I don't know, because I don't know Mitch other than social media, and I didn't really follow the campaigns and what got fulfilled, and stuff got fulfilled out of order or whatever. But anyway, there's the fan base there's some that are not too happy with him, right?
Yeah.
So by losing these investors, which I'm getting screwed over like they did. I mean, this is reality. This did happen, and I think they're going back into the crowdfunding market. And I think this is sort of a way to say, hey, this is what happened. We're not out here just hoarding your guys' money and not, I think this is kind of a olive branch.
Well,
because they're attempting to get back into the crowdfunding market and trying to regain some of that audience. Maybe.
Somebody said in the chat, Danky Frankie has a good comment.
Yeah.
And I want to say he's accurate, which is, I think the crowdfund was for a graphic novel, not single issues, but then he broke it into single issues, which I assume was always the plan for Walmart.
Right.
And the thing is, if I remember right, it went to Walmart before people got the graphic novel.
Right.
It was different. It was different money. It was different money. Like, they didn't use the crowdfunding money to buy the books for Walmart.
No, I know that.
Here,
I know that, but you shouldn't. I know that, but you shouldn't. You should fulfill to the backers of a campaign before it goes anywhere else. Is all I was saying.
Right.
I agree, but I don't think that they had the funds. Again, like, I'm glad they're finally getting to talk about this, because
Right.
I mean, they've been in litigation. They haven't been able to talk about any of this stuff.
Right.
They haven't been able to bring up any of it or defend themselves against the onslaught that they got of the people that are like, you stole our money, you did this. I mean, think about it. Like, people think that they're just sitting on all this money that they made from Walmart, this big Walmart deal, and they've taken the money and ran. And man, they're having to sell their house and go stay with their parents to do all this stuff. But they don't want you to know that,
Right.
because they don't want people asking questions. Yeah, absolutely. Backers don't care if it's different money, but the situation is that you had a different entity completely that was funding this other thing, and they could have done them both in tandem if the person didn't defraud them and take their money.
Right.
That's all.
Now, do you guys?
No, I hear you.
Fans, specifically say to you, Dennis. Until recently, you're primarily a fan and a collector, and you're familiar with the Breitweisters. You bought their books. Do you think this will hurt them when they launch again? Do you think that you too, Blevins and Nile, do you guys think they've turned fans off? Do you think the fans will come back, or do you think that they made a major mistake, which they know they haven't? They're very apologetic about it. I feel bad for them.
I think they will lose a percentage of fans that you will never get back. I think you'll have, there's, the rule, the third. A third will probably never come back. A third will always stick with them. And now you have to focus in on the third in the middle to try and make them understand, to see what they're going to come back with. Because Aaron made a good point, which is your newsstands. There aren't that many comic book people anymore. They've all gone away, because that money, what do you find at the stores now? Manga. Manga is where the money is going to. That's become the new comic book newsstands. You can get your manga books, and even Walmart and Target, that's where it is. And when comic books start making it back into Walmart, the industry's going to go through what it did in the 90s and almost fold in on of itself, which is where it's heading now. So thank God for this type of a model using Indiegogo or Kickstarter.
Hey, didn't Mitch have a crowdfunder
He did.
called the
He
Snake?
did he did another crowdfunding and they lost.
And that didn't do too well, did it?
Mr. Donks here says, yeah, he lost 84% of their backers. I think honestly, they're going for a comic book community that to them feel wronged. They feel wronged in what happened. To go back and try to fund there, I don't think will work for them. I don't, unless because their audience was CG, because he was part of that he was one of like the founders, the guys that really were coming up from the beginning when Ethan and all of them are really starting to push this. He turned their back on them. That's how they feel. So for them to try to crowdfund back into this community of fans, I mean, they would almost have to come on and basically beg for forgiveness on like Ethan's channel. I think that's the only way they would even be able to get that. Otherwise, they're going to have to just continue working the market somewhere else. I don't think they can recover from this.
Yeah, it does feel like they kind of threw Ethan under the bus. They denied all connection to him, and that I think that's going to be a real tough sell for Ethan. Like, if you sort of disown him, it's like, all you want to disconnect from the controversy, which is Ethan is what they're talking about. Yeah. That's not good. He's not going to trust him. I wouldn't. I'd be very
and then therefore the fans don't. Therefore the fans don't trust him, and then because of the
big problem
with the campaign, your backers aren't going to trust you. Their optics are shot.
I will tell you that I think that this is a great first step for them bringing those people back. Now, granted, there are people that don't care, like Dinky Frankie said. There's people that don't care, but the reality of the situation is they were done wrong, and instead of them just giving up and taking the money and run, they leveraged themselves more than what they were able to fulfill a promise, to fulfill all that. And I think that narrative and that story needs to come up. And he posted this, and there's been a bunch of shows where people are talking about what Mitch did and about the posts that he made, and everybody's thinking themselves, and they're creating all these scenarios, but no one has reached out to him to ask, like, hey, can you elaborate on this? Hey, can you do this? Like, I mean, I think this story is one that needs to be told, and I believe that there's a lot of misconceptions and a lot of misunderstandings by a lot of people due to legally them not being able to say anything.
Right. And that's the thing. People don't know the background. People don't know the behind the scenes stuff of like, you can't talk about this. So, months go by. That
message out is what I think will change the game.
Can they talk about it now?
But the problem is, though, is they made decisions during a fulfillment time, which held things back up, and then started promoting and previewing things that were coming to a whole nother market. So the people that are waiting for this are seeing it at their local Walmart, but they weren't able to talk about anything. It was like bad timing. It was bad timing for what they were doing because they couldn't talk about this deal.
I think theft of any kind is bad timing now.
What's that?
Theft of any kind is bad timing.
No, but to go into theft or not, if they started doing this and all of a sudden a deal for Walmart came into play, which caused a huge delay on promises you've already kept, whether or not they go to fulfill them or not, it does not look good. And they legally can't talk about certain things because when you're in a deal like that, you can't talk about it. Any acquisition of any kind, anything of that nature.
Not to play devil's advocate, but look at it this way, right? So they got all the money from the Indiegogo campaign, right? And that money was misappropriated by somebody else. Okay, so they didn't have the money to do what they didn't have money to do the Indiegogo, right? So then, in order for them they're scrounging, trying to find out, man, like, how do we make this happen? And they had already had this deal with Walmart in the works. That Walmart comes in and says, hey, we're going to front you this much money in order to do all these books. So they use that money to try to generate this to get more money so they could affix back to the crowdfunding book.
Still doesn't help. It's perception.
It's perception. I know it's perception. I know it's perception. That's why I'm trying to say, I think that if people will actually reach out to them and bring them on the shows and get them to come on and talk, I think that as the information spreads, I mean, a ton of people haven't even seen this tweet yet.
Is litigation over?
I think. Say what?
Is litigation over?
Yeah, I believe litigation is over.
Yeah.
Okay,
if he
so
posted
they can fully talk about it and tell their story.
I believe so. Yes, sir.
Okay.
They got to take it directly to the customers and people through YouTube. I mean, that's what this stuff is all about anyways, is connecting directly with the customers.
And that's the thing, even like
Go ahead.
Ethan Ethan has, the largest channel for what we do.
Yeah.
So it would be good to be able to have just a one-on-one on his channel to really get the word out. But if that can't happen, and I don't even know if Mitch and his wife have their own YouTube channel, but even if they create one and that's their first video is explaining everything.
Yep.
And just trying to spread that video as far and wide as they can. Because if they did that and then they tweeted it, we'd see it, we'd retweet it. You know what I mean? It would get around.
As long as it's a good story. As long as the story, they're not just saying, oh, look at what they did to us. If they say, we're sorry, we screwed up, here's what happened.
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to be doing
Dennis Turner, it's his fault, and all that stuff.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the question I have, though. Okay, so they apologize or something, and then they go on Ethan's show, and he's working with them. What's the guarantee that they won't just go and do that again? Like, okay, we're gonna, got another deal here. See you later. I mean, that's a little bit hard for
optics. Those are the optics.
I'm saying it's hard for.
I mean, that's
you're asking a lot. You're asking a lot that Ethan.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, I know. That's the gamble.
I don't know if they'd be able to go back on Ethan. I don't know what that dynamic is. I don't know what their relationship is.
Yeah.
I will tell you that I saw the other day when I was watching, they were like something came up and they were talking about the Breitweisers and Ethan. I don't know if he was feeling a little nostalgic or whatever, but he was like saying, I miss my friends from back then. Like I think he really was seriously hurt when a lot of these people ended up leaving, and maybe Mitch was like one of those friends that this whole situation got blown up, and maybe there is a chance for them to reconcile. I don't know, like I can't talk for them or Ethan. No, I'm not going to even try, but I mean, I think that this was the first. I think this was the first chance for them to. Yeah, I was about to say.
Art just says Mitch was in the chat on Pontificator tonight and said there is a lot he can't talk about, and even if he was able to talk, it wouldn't matter. So he's already feeling defeated.
Yeah, I think he's already feeling defeated.
I was wondering if those tweets were. When I saw that, I was like, those tweets can't still be up because I saw other tweets where he was just like, "Fuck you, pussies," and this, that, and the other thing. I'm
really?
That sounds like a drunk guy on Twitter right now, but the tweets were all still there, so he didn't take them down. So maybe he wasn't. Maybe he's just fed up, kind of defeated. But I look at it this way, right? I mean, at the end of the day, they did make right. They did make right with their campaigns.
I mean, there's people that still haven't been fulfilled, like books that still haven't been fulfilled that don't get the treatment that they got.
Oh, and half the people bitching and blocking us on Twitter have books that are 8-9 years still waiting for fulfillment. They know how to critique everything else everyone else does, which because they know better than everyone. But again, I don't know. I don't have anything against them.
I'm not trying to give a sob story or anything, but I mean, can you imagine having your dream house, this work, this work that you built up for, that you hard earned and got, and then got put in such a way to where you ended up having to sell it. Like they didn't have to sell it. They could have just been like, deuces, we're out, and say, forget all that stuff. I mean, like they were already being hated by the people, on Comicsgate anyway, due to what happened with Ethan. Like they could have been just like, deuces, we're out, bounce, but they didn't. Like they leveraged everything they had. They sold their dream house. They did everything to meet the goals, but nobody knows that story. And I think that they really do need to get that story out there, and they need to do it while this is gaining some kind of footage or traction.
Blevins, have you spoken to them at all?
Yeah, I actually just paused the deal and called him to try to see if I could get him on. It's a little too late. It's a little too late for them. So, I tried to see if I could bring them on right now. That was what I would try to do. So I just called him and I'm like, hey, look, man, I think this would be a good opportunity for you to come on. But I wanted to see if he was even interested before I asked Nile if it was cool. So, but yeah.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't.
Huh?
You didn't ask me.
The whole thing.
No, I wanted to make sure they were okay with
lying to me.
before I
you just
asked
sent me a weird picture.
That's another.
Whoa.
That
Is
was
this your- is
another.
this your-
that was another
Is this
thing.
your elbow? What is this?
Yes.
Well, that's like that
No.
dude that attacked us. That guy attacked us, and then he blocked me, and he attacked Aaron. And the one who wants to ban, CG people or people he just doesn't like.
Oh, he blocked me
Comic
yesterday.
conventions.
So.
Yeah, he blocked me too. And that guy hasn't fulfilled his damn book. He's got a book. I fulfilled 4 campaigns, and I'm going to fulfill my 5th campaign.
Wow, Andino, that's kind of wrong, bro.
Since he ended his last campaign.
Yeah.
And if you count, because I did Indiegogo and Kickstarter, that's 10 campaigns I fulfilled, or I've fulfilled 8 of them, and I will fulfill 9 by the end of next month. By the end of next month. But I'm like, who is this person to come in and then try to destroy someone's livelihood? But I guess, Aaron, that's what they do, right?
Well, that apparently it is. I find it. Another thing happened. This is a name that gets thrown around a lot, but I have no idea who she is. But apparently, Tess Fowler put up a thing that said, "Who's your favorite comic creator?" And somebody said Aaron Lopresti, and she blocked the guy.
No way.
No.
He said my name, and so she blocked him. So it's just like,
Aaron, what did you do to this woman? I know you piss people off at Comic Cons.
I know.
What did you do to her?
I don't even know who it is. I can't remember what she does. I mean, these people are, it's like these people that have hung around the industry for ages but never really done anything. And it's like suddenly their community that they think they have control over. It's absurd.
Well, what cracks me up,
man, that's what it is.
What cracks me up, and I was like actually going back and looking at some of these tweets and stuff, and I'm like, everything they accuse, right, of everyone else doing, they're doing the same thing, just from the opposite side of the fence. They are no different. They are no different in any way or mean. They can be just as cruel or everything. And when they get it back, they throw in their face like they're the victims.
Right.
And what they'll do is they'll run up from behind, punch in the back of the head, get into a car and drive away. But that's the version of that is just blocking. Like, let me just do this. I get into arguments with people and they just block. Like, you started the conversation, bro.
Right. That's
you
just it.
started it. Let's finish it.
Well, one of the most famous that does that, initials are M and B, likes to insert himself into a conversation, aka he'll see a tweet, instead of just rolling by it, keep scrolling, he inserts himself in, and then when you try to rebut whatever he writes, you get blocked.
Milton Bradley, but he puts up so many good games.
It is, I know. But that is their modus operandi. It's ridiculous.
It's crazy.
Well, because you can't debate when you don't really have any information. It's easy to say you're a hater or you're a Nazi or you're white supremacist. It's so easy to say those words, but it's really hard to prove it.
Right.
Yeah.
And so you can't say those things, then have someone come out and go, "Really? You never met me. Can you prove that? Where is your receipts on this?" Well, then what are they going to say? They block you so they don't have to defend their position, and then those words still stay out there in the ether. Aaron Lopresti's a Nazi. He's a white supremacist. And they move on to the next person to try and damage them. Yep. They don't have to prove
That's because they can't have a cohesive argument. Facts don't matter.
Right.
Only accusations.
Yeah.
You guys ever think about that?
That's all they operate on is emotions and accusations. Facts are irrelevant.
Yeah, but then they can't survive on their own either. Because if they could, they would be doing what you guys are doing, right? And continuing to succeed. So what do? It's more fuel for them, thinking that, oh well, you're not working for mainstream, this and that. Good. Well, mainstream doesn't pay well.
Exactly.
There's all of us have a little bit of pettiness inside us, right? It's a matter of, are we going to control it or are we going to voice it? And these people are, jealous that first of all, they think we're evil. I mean, a lot of them honestly believe that, even though they couldn't articulate why, but they believe we're evil. Then they see us out here raising, large amounts of money on some of these projects, and they can't do that at Marvel and DC unless they're one of the lucky guys that get, is on Batman or whatever and gets a huge royalty check. But they can't do that because they're in this other world that we used to be in and that we've left or got kicked out of or whatever. And so it pisses them off. It's like, I'm a better artist than Aaron Lopresti. Why is he making $80,000 in 3 days? You know, it infuriates them. And that's part of it, I think, too. And then some of these guys try and they crowdfund. It's like you brought up these guys. No one understands the amount of work involved in fulfilling a campaign. I mean, from start to finish, it's incredible amount of work. And most of these people are not geared. They don't want to work that hard. So they launch these crowdfunders. They start to realize how much they're in for, and then they just shut it down and take the money, you know, and they're calling us bad people.
Yeah. Well, the thing is too that they feel they have power, and they did gain power, and they, you know, online on Twitter they have power because they get all these likes. But again, if every like costs you $1, they'd have a hell of a lot less likes. You know, but that's why so they feel the power, and then but it's not working. No matter what they do, no matter how much they try to cancel, and as Ethan was saying the other night, they can cancel you. You know, don't take them lightly because they can call a Comic-Con and say this person's a Nazi without any kind of, you know, there's no proof of it whatsoever, or this person's a racist or something like that.
I think that
in the Comic-Con,
that power is starting to ebb. Because,
absolutely, but that's infuriating them even more.
Remember when Trump first got elected? Everybody that supported Trump was a Nazi, and they were throwing those words around, and everybody punch a Nazi and do this and do that, and everybody was just. And then after a while, people start to look at this and go, "I'm really tired of hearing this noise. It doesn't mean anything. These people are calling everyone a white supremacist. They're changing the definition of words. They're making stuff up, and it becomes evident to people, and it becomes white noise after a while, and they quit listening." You're right. Scott Kurtz tried to get me kicked out of Rose City Comic-Con. Now, if he had, you know, it's not the end of the world to me, but because I don't do that many conventions anymore anyway, but he was unable to simply because I know more people than he does associated with the con.
The only problem, Aaron, is sometimes with these things, like maybe next time they'll just forget to invite you. You know what I mean? Like, I think a lot of these people just don't want the controversy, you know?
But the thing is, it's like you said this, Dan, you had a great tweet about how important there's the entertainment value that is packaged along with the books that we're selling, right?
Yeah.
I can do an online convention over a 3-day weekend and do just as well or better than I would do if I paid money to travel someplace and go to a con.
Yeah. You know, that's a, you know,
that's a fact. So if they don't want me to go to cons, I don't want to go to cons. You know, I hate traveling. The only reason I went to Portland is because it's a, you know, it was
drive there.
Drive.
Yeah, the funny thing is how they end up kind of helping us all out. And it's
yes, really. Jordan Peterson made a great comment on who's the guy that used to do the wrestling stuff, Joe Rogan's show. That you know, that he just monetizes their hatred.
Right.
That's what it does.
Right.
You know,
they canceled Frank Miller.
Yeah, Marcus,
and he's back with a vengeance. First off,
yeah, but you think? Yeah, I mean, they canceled. They said, "Oh, you can't go to the show." Do you think Frank Miller really gives a rip? I mean, if he cared that much, he would have
$50,000 appearance fee or $100,000 appearance fee. I bet she does.
Well, I wonder if he signed a contract and then they canceled him when they still have to pay him.
They should have to pay a percentage, I would think.
Yeah, I would say they'd have to hit.
And then that woman who said that she didn't feel safe because of that he was going to be there said she wasn't going anyway.
Yeah, she didn't go. Well, that's these things, right? It's the same people that go out and talk about these comic books and, oh yeah, I like this. Like, they don't even buy the comic books.
Nope.
Exactly.
They're just social media voices that all they care about is the social justice brownie points. They're not buying gay Spider-Man or gay Superman or whatever these, you know, woke expressions in DC and Marvel are. They're liking it. They're saying, yeah, that's a way to go, man. This is awesome. But they're not buying the books.
Right.
You know, I had this happen to me recently. So some of you guys know, some of you don't. I'm a huge X-Men fan. It's what I've collected my whole life. I've gone back. I've got them all. Every X title, every X Factor, New Mutants, you name it. That I'm a completist. I've always done it. X-Men has been my gig. And the stories have been so bad and so SJW and so over the top, ridiculous. I finally put a line in the sand. You know, I was like, I'm putting a line in the sand. If Marvel crosses it, I will be done with X-Men forever. And as of X-Men Green, they crossed that line. So I walked in and we did a live stream on it. I went in and canceled all my DC and all my Marvel comic subscriptions. I'm only doing independent books, small press stuff, not to mention, of course, all the CG ones. But I was done. I talked about it, and no more than that, I had people walking up to me, wow, I didn't know you were racist, sexist, xenophobic. And I'm like, I'm not. You know me. Why would I be it? You canceled X-Men. And I'm like, yeah, because it's the worst writing I've ever seen in comic books. And these are characters that are beloved to me, that I've spent a shit ton of money over the years on. And, you know, now I'm being called names because I won't give them my money anymore.
Yeah, I know.
There's gratitude.
Well, see, that way they don't have to take responsibility for the crap they're producing. It's your fault because you're an evil person, Dennis, and you don't understand their highbrow and everything they're producing. And so therefore, it's not that we're producing crap. It's that you don't understand it.
Yeah.
Now, let me tell you something. Niall, don't share my screen yet. When I read a comic book and I get to that last page, I want that cliffhanger that is going to make me go, damn it, I can't wait until the next issue. Now, share my screen. This came out this week.
Yeah.
That is the last page of the book. Man, what a cliffhanger. Wow, what action. I can't wait.
You can't wait to see where that left hand ends up.
And before anybody goes
from that young man's
trousers
right there.
But here's the thing. People will go, oh, you're homophobic. You don't like gay people. It's like, no, that could be Superman kissing Lois Lane in the exact same spot. And I'd be like, that's the last page?
Exactly.
Unless there was like something with her about to die throughout the whole story or something. I'm sorry. I'm just like,
well, wait a minute. Wait a minute. That's not Superman's boyfriend. That's another character. That's somebody else then, right? Because this would be like if Superman is kissing Wonder Woman instead of Lois Lane.
Well, no,
right?
this is Superman's son and his boyfriend.
Oh, so that's his boyfriend. That's the same guy that
Wait,
is his
Superman
boyfriend.
kissing his son?
So that's like you
No,
said.
no, that's Superman's son.
That's
kissing
next.
his boyfriend.
That's an amazing cliffhanger.
And you know all those people behind them with their cell phones on, like this is going to be on YouTube.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I just feel like
basically like Superman kissing Lois Lane, the Clark Kent, you know, Superman, Kal-El kissing Lois Lane at the end of an issue instead of say, you know, Catwoman. Oh my God, you know that's the thing. So he's just kissing his boyfriend, like his father be kissing his girlfriend. So what's the why? I don't get it.
You know,
right?
Realistically, though,
I thought it was a different character.
How are they expecting young straight boys to buy this?
They're not.
They're not gonna buy it. I mean, it doesn't matter. You know, it's not a matter of inclusive, you know, diversity and stuff. You got to sell to people who are willing to buy the comic. They won't be willing to buy this comic book. They want masculine characters. You know, just not going to happen. It doesn't matter what you want. You know, but you can put it out there.
Know your audience. You know,
right.
and
dude, I was going to say that you've got to sell to your audience.
Yeah. It's not a matter of homophobia or whatever. It's just a matter of just what do they want to see, and then supply them that.
You know,
but are they even representing the LGBTQ properly? Like, do they want? Don't they? Maybe they want to be masculine superheroes. Maybe they want to, you know,
exactly
be all this stuff too. Like, why? It's like, why do they want to sit here and be like, well, why is this Superman look scrawny compared to, you know, regular Clark Kent or anything? Like, why can't they have the same superhero physiques? Why are they toned down? Like, come on, they have powers. They're not supposed to look like us. That's what they don't get. They're not supposed to look like us. And I've never met a freaking person who's like, oh man, I need to look like Clark Kent. Like, I'm going to start throwing up. Like, no. That's other forms of media and entertainment that does. That's your music industry.
Marvel and DC
Those
are
are actors and
actors.
Yeah, thank goodness the superheroes don't
about pushing out an agenda. I just talked to one of my friends who I won't name, but he owns a comic shop. So, you know, they relaunched X-Men, because I'll bring that one up. And number one, typically, he goes, I would order 125 comics, just like even a year and a half ago. Number one this time, they ordered in 25. So it's 1/5 the number, and he's still got 12 of them on the shelf.
Yeah.
What does that tell you? They
don't
don't
sell.
care about numbers. They don't care about selling books. They're getting back end money from the government and stuff, and they're using it to pad it. So we're going to push an agenda instead of putting out really good stories that fans want to buy.
Yeah, and the people, those people involved, the editors and stuff, I think it's a scorched earth policy. They don't care if this just burns the whole thing to the ground.
Nope.
They just it's either this or nothing. They know they even know this is a limited time offer. You know, as this thing burns to death, and they just don't care. They just it's like they can come out there and say either we put it in front of people or we destroyed it. Either one, I think they're proud of.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm all for inclusion. I'm for all that, but it's like you got to be able to do it and make it a good story.
Well, that's just it. There's that
make
saying.
good original.
There's a time and a place for everything.
Yeah.
It's not that you can't have it, but it doesn't need to be the focal point of the story. You know.
Well, the thing is, you're not going to sell superheroes to
focal
grandmas.
point. It is the story.
It's like
right.
That's right. But it's the same story in every book.
Yeah,
that's the thing. It's like, okay, that this character's gay. That's great. Good for them. Live a great life. You know, I don't care. Now let's get to some action. Like, you know, the world we're living in.
Not that kind of action. Not that
yeah,
kind
like
of
there's going to be action, Nile.
I just want gripping, sweating, swollen, just craziness. No, but I mean,
oh my God, are you Brian Stelter?
I was thinking that's Stelter right
That's
there.
a great Brian Stelter impression, Nile.
Thank you.
You could get his job at CNN.
No, Harvard. You could go to Harvard and get your degree now. And
no, I'm on the community level. Jeez, I'm one with the people. Okay.
Well, I know we've been going on for a while. You want to get back to Andy's book real quick, and also, do you guys want to talk about the worst comic covers that age well? You guys,
this is such a funny,
I'd love to do that.
Let's check out Andy's campaign, and then we'll hit swear.
All right, so you're getting back up there.
I'm getting back up there
under 666.
Yep. So thank you. Thank you for backing. Thank you guys very much. So thank you guys.
So I came across this article today. I saw it came up. It was 10 Marvel comic covers that aged poorly. There's one I'm like, okay, yeah, it aged pretty poorly, but it was just kind of the narratives to each, right? So they start off. This is a top 10 countdown. And they start off with Captain America Comics number 13 from 1941, right? And their description is, after the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor in 1941, it's no surprise that Cap turned his attention to America's newest foe in Captain America Comics number 13. Unfortunately, Al Avison, who drew the cover for this issue, treated the Japanese people on this cover very differently than the Germans, relying on racial caricatures and giving them inhuman features like long fangs in an effort to dehumanize America's opponents in the war. Yes, it's proper. It's caricature,
and it was 1941.
Yeah. Okay, you guys. Number one, this is a country at this time that attacked the United States, killed a bunch of people at Pearl Harbor. Of course, you're going to create them project them as monsters. But to say they didn't treat the Germans this way in the comics is a bold-faced lie.
Correct.
Because I've got covers where Captain America was beating up monstrous Germans. So it wasn't just the Japanese. This is a disingenuous article by someone who either didn't do their research or doesn't care about the truth, and probably both are true.
But they didn't do that though.
Comic books back in that period, they weren't just meant for entertainment. They were actually propaganda pieces for the war effort throughout World War II. So this would, it just pisses me off.
But I mean, and this would be like a typical, I mean, they could do this right now, but then they would put different people in this role and it would be no issue. Right. Mm-hmm. But they're going to go and pick on a cover from 1941 during World War II with the atrocities that were going on. Yes, the Japanese and the Germans, or the Nazis, I should say, you know, they were a massive threat. What they were doing in the world was unbelievable. You know, this is how it was portrayed.
The rape of Nanking. I mean, that was horrendous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was monstrous and savage what they did. It was. Whether you like it or not. But now they do it for Trump. They depict Trump like that.
Correct. And they're fine with that. They're fine with that.
Correct.
You know, but you know, something like this, all of a sudden it's like, and I get it, these are age well, like, yeah, we're not gonna do that type of stuff nowadays. There's you know,
Oh, I
We've
do
evolved.
the She-Hulk cover in a second. This is
Yeah,
hilarious.
this is what I
Yeah.
love.
So yeah. So what are they saying
How
about
did
this?
this
Here we
guy
go
age well?
for She-Hulk. So it says here, She-Hulk cowers and tries to stretch out her title's Comics Code Authority seal of approval to cover her naked body. She is clearly uncomfortable with her nudity, and the caption, "Because you demanded it," further implies a lack of consent on her part. Burns
Oh my
stands
God.
coming in from out
He
off
doesn't
stage,
exist.
handing her props and telling her to stop stalling only makes this cover that much creepier.
Oh my! It's hilarious. This is a funny cover. Where's the sense of humor?
That's just
it's
it. It's
obviously
a
not serious.
fucking comic book.
Ugh.
John Byrne decided to take her down this road of comedy, breaking the fourth wall, hilarious stuff. Comic book covers are supposed to get your attention to pick it up and go, what's happening? It's looking at old things through today's lens.
Yeah.
And even in today's lens, I don't have a problem with this cover.
I
No,
would,
and
if
again,
one
you're
of you
selling
guys
this-
drew this, I would buy it right now.
I
You're-
know.
you're
I
selling
would
this
still.
to
I
young
would do a
boys.
cover like this
So
because
you
it's
got it.
funny.
There you go, Billy. A she cover. There you go.
I was thinking of the of a Wraith of God with what's her name?
Yeah, Esther.
Just her ankles, and now you just show that. But it's like the cover to issue number 1, and she's covering up with issue number 1.
No, you know what Esther. Oh, I like that, but you know what Esther would be wearing to fit the time frame? A barrel.
A bear.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great, dude.
So you just see her legs pop out and her
That's it. I
shoulders.
always love
Yes.
that drawing up there on the upper top corner in the little.
Yeah.
In the red dress.
What do they
Do
call
people
that?
know what the phrase tongue in cheek means? I don't think
No.
they do.
No.
Well, and
Yeah,
to,
no, that's
and to assign real feelings and emotions to a drawing of a character that doesn't exist. It's like everybody's saying Bugs Bunny was really gay if you watch his cartoons. Okay, he was nothing because he's an animated character. He doesn't exist.
Yep.
Exactly.
To tell jokes with.
Ernie and Bert were gay.
A prop
I
to
remember they
tell
said Babin and
jokes
Robin were
with.
gay. They used to say way back then, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's stupid.
It's just-
So they're wrong on 2.
Yeah,
2 out of 10, they're
Over
wrong.
2.
Now,
Okay, now like this one.
now
This book is
like-
worth money too.
this book
That's my
is worth
go-to.
money. It was like I saw they were going for like $800 to like $1,000 or something. This is hilarious to me. I love
This
this.
is
And
funny,
like
but
a
this
is like a
never
recalled
should have got
cover.
by editorial.
No, and see that's just it. You're right, Aaron. For a kid's book, this should never have went past editorial.
No.
The editor of this should have looked at the sketch and been like, "That's hilarious. Where's the real sketch?"
Hey, what are you guys talking about? This is representation.
I mean, who's the editor of
Yeah.
this? Getty Berganza?
Oh,
So they say for this
Too
one, they say
soon?
the cover of Alf number 48, drawn by Dave Manick and Michael Gallagher, makes a play on words involving the safety seal on new products by showing Alf holding a seal, the animal. The seal is in obvious distress, and it is easy to wonder if something unsavory is happening here.
Do not look. Do not buy if safety seal is missing.
I know.
Yeah, the safety seal is missing. That's because it escaped.
No animals were injured during the making of this cover.
They knew right off the bat when this hit. They knew what they had
Of
here.
course they did.
But once again,
man.
it's
I gotta-
hilarious.
I got to bounce.
All right,
You guys,
Blevins.
it was
Bye,
great
dude. Take it
being on
easy.
the show with all of you legends. It was awesome. Thanks so
Thanks,
much.
brother.
I didn't get a chance to show off my Star Wars models, but
We'll get it.
maybe
We'll
next
get it.
time.
That does make me sad.
We'll
See
get you back on. We'll do a thing
Yeah.
about it.
Next
We'll,
week.
do a
We'll
whole
get you.
thing. We'll make it a whole thing, Blevins.
We'll make a big thing about it. It's all good.
Yeah.
Now,
this-
everybody in the chat. Peace. Y'all have a good night.
Now,
Good
the
night.
number 7 cover here, I could honestly really care less about. Patsy
Oh, what's the
Walker.
problem with this cover?
Oh, because of the furs? Because people don't have furs anymore?
Yes, exactly.
Are you
Just-
serious?
Yup.
PETA.
Oh, good lord.
Although artist Al Hartley had no way to know that fur would fall out of fashion, his condescending attitude towards teenage girls has arguably aged even worse than fur, proclaiming that the most
condescending
exciting day in the life of any teenager is the day they get their first fur.
You know what? I can
Patsy
call my
herself
wife up
says
here
she'd
about
rather
when she-
die than remove her new coat.
You know what? Let me
Who
call
the fuck
Debbie on
wastes
that.
their time?
Call
Like,
Debbie.
who does this? Like, this is the article I'm gonna write. This is what they have. This is what they have time for. This is what they're gonna do. Now, this one here.
Hang on. Can we stay on this one for
Ooh.
a second?
I like the number 6 one though. It's juicy.
Sorry, I'm calling Deb. I gotta ask her.
She's sleeping. Fucking 11:15.
Hey, honey, you sleep or are you awake? You're awake. Okay. Quick question. Were you excited when you got your first fur coat? Remember when you got the fox coat? Were you excited?
Yeah.
Were you like showing it off and you're all like, was it a great day? Like one of your favorite date gifts ever?
I felt like it was my 21st birthday, and I'd always admired my mother, so I felt like I was a grown-up.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Beautiful.
Okay, bye. Love you.
Go back to sleep.
Go back to sleep. She's drinking again.
Oh yeah.
You just had your anniversary, so she's reflecting on how many years you've been married. She's cracking the sauce.
Yeah.
You have, seriously, if you're even taking the time to look at this stuff and you have a reaction about it, you need to find something to do with your life.
Yeah,
Let's use the real word, Aaron. If you're triggered by any of these comic book covers, you need to go talk to someone.
Then you need a safe space.
Yes.
You need some friends to bring you some lasagna. Oh, I remember when this came out. This is right after I was done with Heroes for Hire. And this is a woman who did this cover.
Yeah, it's I can't remember
What's
her
her
name.
name?
Sana Takeda.
Okay.
Yes,
Sana
Takeda. Yeah.
I would
Of
argue
monstrous
that this is just inappropriate, period. That it's not an idea of aging well. It's just one of these things that probably shouldn't have been done in the first place. I mean,
I don't know. I think it's a great cover.
Well, I mean, you got women with their. I mean,
and they said that's Misty Knight. That's not Elektra. All these comics. That's Misty Knight. That's not Elektra.
Here you got the tentacles coming in. We all know what that means, and then
they're dripping.
These women are like in bondage and half dressed. I'm surprised they did this cover. Quite frankly,
it's dripping.
They'd actually sell some comics today if they did it.
Yeah, well, of course it sell.
Aaron is an anti-sea monster.
I am not.
Well,
I just don't like the
created
cover.
by artist Sana Takeda of monstrous fame was published in 2006.
Yeah.
Well, is she a manga artist? Because this is all very normal.
Yeah, she does a popular book at Image now.
But isn't this a lot of manga covers has all this stuff?
Oh,
in
manga is
books?
just
They
half the
totally
manga
have
books
it.
I've opened. It's like the front cover is like some weird beast thing just railing some broad. I'm like, oh, that's cool.
Some broad.
How does that even happen?
Wow, listen to the chauvinist up there.
Yeah,
Some
really.
broad. At least we call them babes.
Yeah,
Right?
dames.
Some trollop.
Number 5. Kind of another one I could really care less about. And their image here is actually different than what I could find, but it was Invincible Iron Man #1 variant. Made its child heroine embarrassingly adult.
Yeah, I remember actually controversy about that one as well, and I was just like,
"That's Scott
Campbell. Can you blow up on that one like that?
That is Scott Campbell. That is
Scott Campbell.
So you don't want to know what the real controversy was? That they were turning her into Iron Man. That's really the controversy on that.
Because honestly, in body proportion, I look at it and I go, yeah, it's a skinny kind of teenage girl, you know.
Yeah, unfortunately, if you go
not like 13, like 19.
Well, she's supposed to be 15, but let me tell you something. My son's, 16, and he's got his Instagram friends, these girls and stuff, and you got to see what these girls are posting.
Yeah.
It's far worse than that today, let me tell you. And they're 15.
Yeah, I mean, that's just to me that cover is, whatever.
Yeah,
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
This one cracks me up.
Marvel. The cover of Marvel #6, created by Greg Horn, portrayed an almost naked Mary Jane Watson swinging on a rope made from Spider-Man's webs, looking uncharacteristically vacant. On the bright side, the sexually charged image failed to draw in readers, and the series was canceled after only 7 issues.
Again, and I may be I hate to say that I wouldn't say that I'm prudish, but I would say that this to me is you're blatantly trying to sell soft porn. You know, you're not.
Well,
trying
yeah, I
to
mean, if she
sell
was
it,
wearing
you know
a
what I mean?
full, if she was wearing a full bodysuit, right, then you're like, okay, but it's a ton of skin, and you can totally see the bottom of her, you know, in blue, and it's like, okay, that's a little much for who your target audience probably is.
Marvel book, right? For a Marvel comic. If this was an independent comic, I would say whatever. But if you're trying to, I don't know when this came out, but at this point, you're still, there's a way to do a sexy girl cover without it being raunchy. And this was raunchy. I'm not, I'm not going to be saying, oh my gosh, ban it or anything, but I'm just saying it's probably was not a good choice.
The problem
There's
is
no
when you
comic
look at
book
this
art
cover,
feel to it either.
Yeah.
When you look at this cover, what does it say to you? It says, we have no real story inside, so buy this.
Right.
Correct.
That's what it's saying.
Well, Jemis.
That's
Phil
why it
Jemis
didn't
was
sell.
like the publisher of Marvel at the time, wasn't he? So he's like, I got an idea for a book, and I'm going to write it.
Well, I thought this was during the time where Jemis and I don't think, was it Joe? I can't remember, but we're kind of like, like almost competing or something. And Jemis was like, oh, well, I'm going to do this book, Marvel, and I'll show you. I thought that's what it was. I could be 100% wrong. But yeah, like Dennis said, I know nothing. Look, we've all seen pinup covers before, but this just isn't a good pinup cover. If I was the editor, I would have been like, yeah, let's show me some more sketches.
Yeah, I mean, it's just not classy. It's trashy, and I think you want to
draw this on the bros.
You want to kind of do something classy, and this really is trashy, in my opinion.
It's also just off-brand. There's no comic book feel to the art at all.
Right. There you go. That's another good point.
You know what it looks like? It looks like those con artists, those guys with the 50,000 prints hanging up over their booth with their ripping booth that's kind of hanging and it's 20 feet in the air.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And they have a million of prints like that.
Well, look, Stippling Vaughn says something. I think he's kind of joking a little bit, but he's saying we're advocating the need for censorship. No, that's not what it is. It's like making good editorial choices.
Right.
Is what I'm talking about. Again, it's a cheap way out to try and sell a trashy cover, you know, to get some sales. It's not really, you're not really pushing the product in the way that you should be pushing it to your audience. It's to me, it's a cheap ploy to get sales. So I'm not a big fan of this.
90s indie book that's black and white inside and really
right. That's what it looks like. That's exactly what it looks like.
Speaking of 90s, number 3. For some reason they picked Fantastic Four number 375.
Now,
what's wrong with that?
They were totally trying to
Ryan was a good friend with, and I never thought that this is the. Woo! Sorry. Thank you. They tried to make Sue sexy, and it's kind of like, come on, she's America's mom. I never liked that look because I didn't think it really worked for the character. But aside from that, there's nothing wrong with this cover.
No, I mean, you could bitch about stuff like the Rise of Doom and how it's placed right on her feet, but other than that, you're right. As a comic book cover, at least it tells some type of story, and it's a cover where you're like, I want to know what's happening inside this book. What, even if Sue wasn't dressed like that, and it was her regular costume, same exact cover, holding the gun and everything, you'd be like, okay, what's the threat that they're facing? Where literally the Fantastic Four is loaded up with guns.
Yeah, you know, the threat is that they're trying to Liefeld-esque this cover because Rob was kicking ass. And it was
Look at the guns.
Yep. Yeah.
Well,
no, I get that.
Fantastic Four need guns.
Right. That's the point. So I totally understand that, but I don't. So why do they say this is on the list?
So they're saying, for a time during the 90s, comic shop shelves were filled with covers using foil or holograms to make them look valuable and collectible. This issue adds enormous shoulder pads, random military jackets, and absurdly large guns that were also the style of the time. The result is an incredibly dated relic of its era.
Yeah, I mean, look at the thing.
That's what it is. I mean, that's the one part they got right. It's dated, but duh.
Like, yeah, why is Ben Grimm wearing a helmet?
Oh, I can tell you. I can actually answer that.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes.
Because
If I remember correctly, he got into a fight with Wolverine, and Wolverine slashed his face pretty bad. So to hide the scars, he started wearing a helmet.
I don't want to shock anybody, but Shelley is actually coming here to get a copy of Wraith of God to read it.
She hasn't read it yet.
This is going to be.
Oh, I know. I'm a horrible wife.
This is
my wife doesn't read my.
This may be the first comic book she's ever read.
Well, I can tell you this.
Since like Richie Rich.
Yeah, Richie Rich and Little Lulu.
Helen's never read first. Helen's never. She barely even steps up here. So you know,
guys,
Well,
let me tell you
when he talks
something.
to my husband, where do you think he's going to be?
Let me tell you something, guys. It's a blessing because sometimes you don't want them to read it because they're like, "Why did you do this? You're ruining the character. This is why would you do something like this?" And it's like, "Oh God, this is
I'll give him notes tomorrow.
okay,
here comes the notes, Aaron. Here comes the notes.
make him good ones. He's already started drawing the second one, from what I hear.
Hey, you better hurry up before he ruins that one too. Oh,
that's hilarious.
I know,
That is so true.
well, yeah, but you know, comic strips are an easier read. You know, you can just kind of go through them in a couple.
My
in a few
attention
seconds.
span and that.
Yeah.
All right.
But anyhow, I get what they're saying about the dated, but it's like, yeah, it's 30 years old, dipshit. Of course it's dated.
Yeah, it's going to reflect. I mean, you look at
Gonna
any
reflect
image
what was
comic
popular
book-
at the time.
Yeah, you look at any image comic book in the 90s, and it's going to say, well, yeah, this looks like the 90s.
And I got to be honest, when the guy's like, look at the large shoulder pads, I'm like, they're not that large.
No, they're not.
What the hell is he talking
Yeah,
about?
anybody ever see, what's her name? Joan Crawford in the 40s? Come on,
Yeah.
shoulder pads.
I was saying, my wife's got suits that have better shoulder pads than that.
You know, I think it's the hair. If you had a different hairstyle on this very same art, it might be all right. It's the hair that just isn't working.
But again, these are like we're talking about editorial criticisms. I wouldn't have done this. I wouldn't have done that. But to say the cover is like horribly dated or something, or is doesn't. I mean, this is obviously this doesn't fit into our culture now kind of thing, and these people should be ashamed of themselves kind of article. But there's nothing wrong with this cover.
No, if she lost the jacket, she would pretty much be okay today.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's the whole argument of just looking at anything from history through today's lens, and you can't do that.
No.
You know, because the people that are doing that are saying, well, yeah, if I was around in the late 1800s, I would never have done that. And you just want to go bullshit because your mindset would have been different because you were brought up in the late 1800s. You wouldn't think the way you do now.
I'm looking forward to the CBR article about comic covers that didn't age well 20 years from now with all this woke garbage that bombed.
Yeah,
They cover that.
Yeah.
All right, number 2.
That is a good cover.
Yeah, that's
Love
a cute
this
cover.
guy.
Yeah, I don't.
Let me
I
start
can't wait
off
to
with
hear the
what
beat.
they-
Scott
okay.
Campbell, it's good.
The cover for Amazing Spider-Man number 601 by J. Scott Campbell reflects MJ's concern, but many people took issue with the sexualized depiction of the anxious woman. Mary Jane's position on the sofa is contorted and unnatural, presumably to emphasize the curve of her hip and breasts, which are being pushed forward by her arms.
Of course.
So wait,
Al
he
sounds
actually
good.
drew it properly because if a woman sits like that, they would be pushed forward.
Yeah.
So he drew it properly, and they're like, "Oh, it's emphasized,"
And he was
because her
laughing
arms
all
are
the way-
pushing
yeah.
him forward.
Yeah, and he was laughing all the way to the bank because I bet he sold his cover for like $15,000-$20,000.
This
I was
was
about to
this was
say,
the
yeah.
one. Do you
I
remember?
bought
This was
it.
the one that someone corrected.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah. And then
And
Anna posed.
yeah. Anna posed like that because it's like you can't sit like that, and I'm looking at it going, yeah, you actually can.
Hey,
Um,
Aaron, is Shelly still down there to have her give a look at it and tell her if it offends her or she gone?
Look at, I've been drawing babes since I met her. She doesn't care.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing. That is a really good cover.
Yeah.
I mean, the composition is excellent. I mean, to criticize that and say, that's his style. That's how he works.
Right. That's what you hire him for.
Right.
And like Aaron said, it's not just Mary Jane wearing barely anything, swinging on a spider web. You know, this
That would
actually
be a
tells us
shitty-
this,
that would be a shitty cover.
this tells a story.
Yeah.
You know,
that face-
it does kind of make you want to read the book because you're like, well, what the hell? What you know, what's going to happen inside with Spider-Man?
Well,
that really makes me want to go get that book and read it.
On the cover.
Yes,
They're
that's
just
exactly
offended
what it
it's
is.
a hot chick.
Her face isn't realistic, so why should the rest of it be? It just
Yeah, it's very
it's cartoony style, you know.
Spider-Man's unrealistic. No one can have spider powers.
Yeah.
Hey,
These
hey,
are
hey,
comic
you hold
books.
on now. I try to get bit at least once a day by a spider in my house because I know, like winning the lottery, it's got to happen to somebody.
Someday.
Someday.
Well, Nile, you brought up something earlier that these are not supposed to be realistic depictions of human beings. This is a complete fantasy world where all the characters are idealized and stylized. It's an absurd criticism. It's an absurd.
Well, it goes back to that thing, and I know it's happened to Aaron. It's happened to me. I'm sure it's happened to Billy and Dan at a convention. A woman comes up and goes, "Oh, why do you always draw women like hips or boobs or whatever?" And I've said this. I go, well, one, it's an idealized version, but two, I've yet to have a guy come up to me and go, "Oh, why do you always draw men with broad shoulders and big pecs and blah, blah, blah?"
Yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
we're drawing idealized versions because honestly, nobody wants to see a 5 foot tall Wonder Woman that is kind of stumpy and pudgy.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Star.
Hey,
yeah.
maybe the part that didn't age well is written by Mark Waid.
Hello.
There you
So
go.
I had a girl one time, some young girl. She was in her 20s and she was cute and all, and she's sitting there looking at the prints, and she goes, "You draw nice butts." I thought it was funny.
Well,
know,
you
I
think
think-
about it, right? The
if-
more you
if-
make the book real, right? The more you make everything so real, right? With all these messages and this and that. What's the point of the escapism? What's the point of me
Right.
even
Right.
reading the comic book? It's
Right.
I'm reading this to go on an adventure, right?
Right.
Or to solve a mystery or whatever genre it is. But again, if you're making it my real world, why the heck do I want to read it? I watch Star Trek because that's not the real world anymore, right? Or we're not even there yet anymore. We're not even
Right.
there. You know,
Right.
I read Batman because he does a lot of things physically a real human being probably would not survive. You know, it's
Right.
just, you know, and Superman will never exist. And that's the thing. But then if you make Superman me, you know, again, representation and whatever you want, inclusivity, whatever you want to call it, is great. But write it well, do it well, have the powers, make it escapism. Don't just make it what I see every day when I'm not escaping from it. You know,
Right. Right.
You know,
They're-
they
that's how they're
hired J.
ruining
Scott
things.
Campbell for this for a reason. If they wanted realism, they would have hired Perillo. They would have hired Alex Ross to do the cover. Somebody that can do really hyper realistic. Again, this whole argument is just ridiculous.
it's crazy. I don't want them to relate with me. You know,
Right.
it just makes no sense.
Good
Makes no
Lord.
sense.
I agree.
Lord.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
these
why do you think
people-
Andy drew Kor-Drath? He modeled it after me, and then
There you
changed a
go.
couple of things.
Absolutely.
It's so clear too.
Right.
It's so
There you
obvious.
Well, we'll get to the number one cover here. We'll get to the number one cover. This
Jason,
one
on
you
your
can't really do.
The
This
number one you can't.
Where is it here?
Oh, you already
Hang on.
showed that.
Yeah.
We love that cover.
Did I just put that in twice? Anyways, the Young Allies cover. Let me zoom in on this. This it's cool. I love the Young Allies series. Really cool.
Again, propaganda.
It's just propaganda.
Yeah,
That's
it's
all.
just propaganda.
Yeah, but they're talking because obviously the depiction of a black male and you know
Where's
Asian characters and stuff
the black man? Where's
right here in the middle.
Right in
I
the middle.
guess-
Now, I will say this, that stuff is problematic.
Oh my
and,
God! Yeah, that's horrible. Yeah.
Yeah.
is offensive. But again, you've got to you take these things as time capsules of history,
Right.
and you don't look at them to say, "Oh, you know, this is horrible. Why did they do that?" I mean, it gives you an idea of what was going on, and some of it wasn't right. You know,
And
culturally.
you never know whoever you know, the people doing this, and even the guy that drew it. I mean, I don't know. Maybe the editor said, "Look, this is how I want it to be done." And
What
you
year
know,
was this?
these guys weren't making tons of money back then. So if you're the guy who drew the cover, and the editor's like, this is what I want. Okay. You want to take that paycheck home and feed your family? I mean, this was what, 1941, 42 as well?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yep.
Look at this. I don't know if this will get me banned, or give me full screen just for a second.
Yep.
Wow. This is Eisner in 1976. Look at the little black kid there playing the drums.
Oh, right.
Oh my God.
I mean, that's like a 1930s sort of racist depiction.
Oh, yeah.
In 1976. So I think that, and I'm not going to sit here and say that Will Eisner was racist, or I didn't know him at all, but I think there was certain tropes, and even if they were inappropriate, a lot of people just sort of did stuff without really thinking about, oh, is this offending somebody? You know, it's just.
Well, and I think you hit it with the tropes in comic book art and in cartooning. There are certain tropes that you would use because the whole point is, in any drawing, you're trying to tell a story, and you want to tell it efficiently. And especially on a cover, a single image, you want to get it across pretty quick. And I'm talking more cartooning, not, beautiful paintings and stuff where you're supposed to absorb into it. Mm-hmm. But like on a comic book cover, and especially Will Eisner, who I really do look more as a cartoonist, not a realist when it came to his art, he did know those tropes from the golden age and in the 30s and 40s of, I'm drawing an African-American character. I'm drawing an Asian character. This is how you caricaturize it to get that point across. You know what I mean?
Right.
And now, should he have maybe not carried that through all the way in 1976? Maybe not. But how old was he then? He's been doing it for how long? And you just default. You know what I mean?
Hey, it was our bicentennial.
So,
oh jeez,
I think that, I'm sure that the black community at large was probably really offended by that stuff, or they might have been not as sensitive as people are today and might have just said, whatever.
But that brings up the whole point. That brings up the whole point of, just like with Aunt Jemima and Uncle Ben on the rice and all that, who was really upset about that? I'm willing to bet if you took a poll, it would come out the majority of white people were more upset.
Right.
Graham Nolan, when he interviewed Larry Stroman, and Larry Stroman did say that he did not like Eisner for that very reason. But that character's
you could see it. I don't blame him.
So he was actually one person that was actually truly offended by it.
Which that's fine.
Yeah, I don't blame him for it.
It is an offensive, depiction, a stereotypical offensive depiction. And so I can't necessarily disagree with the author on that cover, because you would like to have seen that stuff not happen, because there was race relations even back in the 40s.
Sure. Yeah.
That needed to be taken into consideration, and they didn't take that stuff into consideration. But all this other woke nonsense about the girl being too pretty, or her butt being too curvy, it's just like, come on. Just
so out of those 10 comics, you could maybe argue one or two were not great. That really.
Well, yeah. I mean, there were just someone that honestly, besides the one or two, the rest on that list,
freaking horrible, dude. Oh my God, that one Mary Jane swinging.
It was horrible.
I mean, you could take out probably 7 covers off that list and just go, here's the 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. Landy Smith, where are we
Patrick.
now? Oh man,
Boom.
142, baby.
Come up, I know, $2 away from 41,800, very close to 42,000. Thank you very much, guys. Really appreciate you guys.
Give him a well done, buddy.
Well done.
Thank you guys. Thank you.
And I finished the page.
Oh, that's even more awesome. Look at
Puts
that.
the cord.
Oh, let's zoom in on that.
No, you
I did nothing
That
but
looks like a sensation.
Oh, I like that picture of.
What's that for, Billy?
Rocketeer book for comics for Ukraine.
Oh, yeah. I think your heart's really fitting on that book. But
I gotta tell you, I'm no Dave Stevens, and I tried to ink like Dave Stevens. What I realized that Dave Stevens would change up his inking style a lot. And it's
nobody's going to do Dave. No one's doing Dave Stevens.
Yeah, I'm not Dave Stevens, but I think I would have. It's good. I like it. I'm proud of it.
I think you're doing great. I think it's
but
awesome.
I would have been a lot more. I think I would have been a lot more happy. And there's Ludmilla. I'd be a lot more happier with it if in this.
Whoa, that looks like Brie Larson, that last panel.
Oh my God! Are you trying to say Billy Drew a bitchy-looking woman? What the hell?
Oh my goodness!
So
that,
anyway, but,
Billy, that character seems to fit in your style really well.
And I should have done it with my black Beryl Prismacolors. I use these, which I love to use.
Oh yeah,
and like these things melt on the paper. And a lot of my covers, a lot of my art, my she art covers and stuff, they're all done with this. And you want to get your blacks, you get them real dark. You can get real nice. You can cross hatch. You can do so much with it. And I would have been totally done with the whole book if I had done that. But que sera, right?
Que sera.
We'll fix it in post.
There you go.
That's right.
There you go.
Oh, thank you, Daniel. Yes, you got your the sheet. If I can talk about my campaign real quick before we sign up too, and we'll get back to you.
I got my digital sheet today too.
No, thank you. Yeah, our surveys went out. Our backer kit surveys went out. This is to help us get the books out faster. Again, Indiegogo backers, you don't have to fill it out. Kickstarter backers, you do, because we don't have your addresses. But all the people that do fill out their backer kit, and it'll take you 30 seconds. You just really check your order. That's it. You'll go to the top of the list. And so we're excited, man. Books are set to be shipped out on the 26th of September still. So we should get them by the 29th.
Nice.
And we get them by 29th. We start fulfilling that day. So we're very excited, and thank you all for the support. Really appreciate it. So, and we'll be closing it in a few weeks, but we'll do a closeout stream.
Hey, Billy, who's Rocketeer for? Are you publishing?
It's for the IDW is doing a book called Sunflower Seeds. It's comics for the Ukrainian refugees, all the refugees of the Ukraine war. So and they're all in Poland now, and they've raised close to $200,000 already.
That's
given
cool.
To this it's called USA Rescue or USA Cares or something like that, and they all the money they make goes to these refugees. It's not helping the Ukrainian war effort. It's just going to the displaced refugees.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yep, I got I penciled it already for the most part. I got to finish page 5 hopefully tomorrow, and page 6 for us. Page 5 tomorrow, and page 6 on Friday night.
Who's coloring it?
Brian Miller.
I was gonna say that's gonna look good.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he did the first page is done already.
Oh, cool.
But it's all colored because we use it for promotion.
Yeah.
That's my favorite character. I'm so nervous. You don't get paid.
Yeah.
But it's like, he offered me, and I know Jenny, Dave's sister, and she wants me to do. She's like, "Oh, we'd love for you to do it." And I'm like, "Oh, I wrote this 6-page story, and
that's cool.
Who's got the rights on Rocketeer?
Jenny, it's the Rocketeer Trust, which is run by Dave's sister Jenny.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So, but then they said I could use it for the future. I could use it for something.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and it's a really nice little story. So
cool.
Anyway, so let's go back to First Man and close out, if we can, Nile, with First Man up there.
There you go.
Kor-Drath.
There it is. Thank you, guys.
Kor-Drath.
Thank you, everyone that backed it tonight. Thank you so much. We really do appreciate your support, and we're going to keep working on it for you guys. So,
looks great, bro. You guys are killing it. All three of you.
And we'll keep. And remember, everyone, share on your Facebook, your Twitter, your Instagram. Spread the word of Kor-Drath, the Reckoning.
That's right.
The Reckoning.
When it's a movie, you'll want to be there going, "I was there from the beginning."
Yes.
Only Arnold was young enough to play the lead.
Cameo.
Oh, hello.
What are you still doing awake, Susie? It's after 9.
I know. She's been watching K-dramas, I bet.
Yes, I have.
Of course you have. So, Aaron, this is my better half that lets me buy all the nerdy stuff.
No, my wife lets me buy my nerdy stuff too, but I just don't do it as much as you do.
This is
That's
Susie.
funny.
Do you enjoy the nerdy stuff too?
I don't enjoy it. No.
Neither does my wife.
Neither
does my wife. Hey.
Nobody's wives enjoy it.
Nobody's wives.
She tolerates it.
I know way too much. At this
Yeah,
point. There's
that's
things
true.
I shouldn't know.
Look,
Don't
she
need
used to work
know.
the conventions with me, so she knows, Spider-Man 300 is.
I don't know.
Yeah, you did. Oh, I'm so disappointed. It's too much.
I know 181 is Hulk.
Oh,
Yeah, it's because he's got it right near you.
Yeah, but she can't see that far.
Without her glasses, right?
She used to be really good. Oh, I need the first Venom. I need the first Punisher. I need the first, and she'd be like, "Oh yeah." She got really good at it. And then
Morbius is like something up there too. He's like
Morbius, yes,
okay.
yeah. So anyway,
I got a Susie. I got a funny story about Amazing Spider-Man number 300. My son's gonna come up. He told me today. So I just woke him up and told him to come up here.
You woke him up.
You just I love how you always wake your family up.
I know I do. Where are you?
Get up, kid.
He's coming. So he goes, I got to tell you a funny story. And I'm like, what? So, Mateo? Yeah. Come here. And tell everybody, say hello to the world. Tell them a story what your teacher said today about Amazing Spider-Man 300.
She said, like,
yeah,
it was horrible. And,
he showed her the Amazing Spider-Man number 300 cover, Todd's cover, and she was right.
And she's like, he would literally not have a pelvis for that to be possible.
It's
not
amazing.
a fan of comics.
Thank you.
You woke your
comics and just
He's got to
horrified.
go to school in the morning, man.
And then what he should have said back was, that might be true, but the guy that drew it's a millionaire a few times over. So
I bet you did. Yeah, I bet you did.
Hey, comics are not for everyone. I rest my case.
Yeah, comics are not for everyone.
Yeah, not for everyone.
Well, this in my case, that is the book that got me into to do comics again. You know, to actually do comics because I grew up. I grew up, you know, reading comics, but I just was like, I was a huge, you know, Dave Stevens fan. I was a Joe Kubert fan. You know, John Romita Jr. You know, Frank Miller, and I'm like, I can't do this. I can't do this. These guys are, you know, these guys are amazing. And then that somebody brought that Amazing Spider-Man number 300, and it was so unique and different. And I'm like, oh, maybe I can do this. Nothing's like this. Maybe you can just have a quirky, weird style and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I thank you, Tom McFarlane.
there you go.
Yep, I love that cover.
I do too.
Yep,
It's a great cover.
Yes, it is.
great cover. All right,
Not as good as you know, Andy Smith's Kor-Drath, but it's
Well,
definitely
that's
great.
true.
No Kor-Drath, that's for
There's
sure.
no Kor-Drath.
All right, gentlemen. Well, hey, thanks
Thank
for
you.
hanging out, Andy and
did we
Dennis.
get
Good luck with the
Did
campaign.
we get anywhere else, or no? That's it.
I think that's it for now. But tomorrow morning I'll wake up and
That's right.
see more.
Well, Ethan's
Hopefully.
streaming, so go on his.
Oh, are you kidding me? I'm exhausted.
How long did you stream that first day?
Oh, I stayed up till 4 a.m.
Oh my god!
As soon as we got off the Kings, I jumped right on Malin's channel. We went for 4 more hours.
Wow. So were you up?
I was there, but
24
I
hours?
have normal. These are my normal hours, late night stuff. So that was no
Oh,
problem.
is it? Dan, so what's your normal schedule like? I know we're gonna go, but it's
I always stay up late because everything I'm doing my advertising is due the next day. So I just naturally, even if I'm working on something, I'll stay up late till 2 or 3. You know, and just because I'll get burnt out otherwise. You know.
Yeah. All right. I might jump on Ethan and say hello to everybody.
Oh.
All right.
I'm a good
You know, I'm going to go to bed right after this, but I'll be up in 5 hours. Guarantee it. I'm up 5 o'clock every morning.
Same here.
Milk the cows.
Nope.
Nope.
Yeah, I'm like you. I get up early like that too.
Yep. It doesn't matter what time I can go to bed. I will always wake up at 5 a.m.
Wow.
Nice.
And Danky, the book is 72 pages plus the covers. So, okay, 76 pages. Thank you very much,
There you go.
Dan. So, all right. Great show.
Cool. All right, everyone, have a great night. And yeah, what are we doing tomorrow night? We're gonna talk to some crowdfunders.
There you go.
Oh, really? That's it? You're going to talk to some crowdfunders, whatever?
Sounds so enthusiastic.
I'm gonna talk to some crowdfunders.
Great show tomorrow. We're gonna have a fun
And we have
show.
Mark Bolton on tomorrow night.
Oh, there you go. That's cool.
Yes, he's gonna be on, and we got Marvin Wynn, this gentleman John Dexter, and
Let's
Grant
talk some more smack.
Lankard. Yeah, let's talk some shit.
Talk some
There it
shit.
is.
And
And tomorrow night at 11 p.m., Dennis and I will be on with Michael Bancroft. So,
Oh, Bancroft's a great show.
yeah, he's awesome.
Very
I love
cool.
going
Aaron,
on.
thanks so much for hanging out. Dan, thanks for popping in. Dennis, it was great meeting you.
Yes,
Tucci.
you too. Thanks, everybody. It was great.
Thank
Fun
you
day.
guys. Yeah.
All right, everybody who has firearms, point them at the camera.
All right. Have a good night, everyone.
Night.
Hey, everyone. Thank you for joining us on Pop XP. If you haven't already, make sure to click that subscribe button and also click the bell for notifications when we go live and we upload some awesome new content. Also, don't forget to head on over to Twitter and follow us at the Pop XP and over on Instagram at the Pop XP. Thanks again, everyone, and we'll see you soon.